talk about the way we felt about Tiger Woods, where the guy was legit flying off a cliff where like he may never live. He may never fucking walk. Like now he's playing in majors. Think about like that ride. Live, we had the same sort of trajectory where it's like, this thing's not going to be something. And all of a sudden you look back, you're like, holy fuck, they got Cam Smith and Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson and they have a championship and they're giving out $1 billion. It's like, what the fuck is happening right now? Where were we 12 months ago?
Foreplay, brought to you by BarstoolSports.com. Fun website, entertainment company. Go check it out. And presented to you by Chevy. We love Chevy. We're big Chevy guys. We're going to talk about Chevy in a little bit. It's election day. So we got a big show. Right. We got a lot to get to. In honor of election day, we're doing
Who are you guys voting for?
Let's get into it. This just turned into Pod Save America. Let's do it. People are like, what am I listening to here?
The only race I'm really aware of in my like world that I'm eligible for is the mayor race in Los Angeles because I'm still a Los Angeles voter. And it's like a very spicy race. But
Can I tell you that the one thing about having an iPad is that I'm far more informed than I was before I had an iPad, because I was never just going to be on my phone reading New York Times articles or whatever pops up in my feed. But now that I have an iPad, I feel like I have to use it. So I've been reading more about the midterms and about sports and everything else, but I am certainly more informed than I've ever been. And it's solely because I own an iPad.
Yeah, it's the Apple News Plus. I got Apple News Plus, and it's like $9.99 a month, I think, and you get like all these different, basically subscriptions to publications. I think the Wall Street Journal's on there. I think I don't remember what other news ones, but you're right. And then all the graphics where you like click on the map to see who's going to win and what districts there are, they're way better on an iPad than they would ever be on a cell phone.
So in Arizona, I talked about it last week, but you know, it's just chaos here. There's fucking signs everywhere. It's attack ads all over the place. And I'm going to vote today when this comes out, and I haven't been paying attention at all. So I like to go through and I like to like try to actually figure out and learn about the candidate. It's impossible. There's like no way to genuinely learn about the person and like their truly what they stand behind, because you like Google it and everyone has put their best, all their money and their special interests and everything they can to like steer you in a certain direction. Once you Google it, then like I'm sitting here going, okay, when I get to the ballot and I go through all these different options, I get why people just panic and they're like, well, I guess I voted like Democratic, so I'm just going to go D down the whole fucking board and I'm going to get out of here. And like, it's just impossible to truly objectively learn. You would have to commit like weeks to it, I feel like. And I get that, yeah, in a democracy and all that's great. And if you're some idealistic person, then you should do that because voting is so important and people fought for it. It's like most people don't have the time for that shit. And unless you're some staunch conservative or hardcore Democrat and you're just going to go right down the board, it's really difficult to learn in the ins and outs of person by person, what they're going to vote for, what they stand for, what their record is, and who they are as like a human being. I don't know how you can fucking learn that.
I have found that I am the most impressionable person on the planet because I will read something and whatever their intent was with the article, I'm supposed to hate this person, I'm supposed to like this person. I then end up hating that person or liking that person. So I'm really a bad barometer for, like you would hope you would read an article and you'd be able to disseminate like, all right, this person stands for this. And so now I feel this way about them and I will vote whichever way you want. But I'm so impressionable that no matter what I read, I finish it and I say, yeah, how they feel about them is now exactly how I feel about that person. And it is not a good way to go about voting or, forming an opinion on anything.
And it must be a roller coaster for you to watch these Monday Night Football games and Sunday Night Football, especially in local TV, because it's one ad after another right now. It's absolute chaos.
I know that Pat Ryan is a radical liberal and he sides. The only reason I remember that name is because it's a name of someone in my family. So every time I see Pat Ryan on my TV, I'm like, oh, that sounds like the name of someone I know.
It's just so funny. There's a lot of money being spent. It's like Kathy Hochul was created by the devil himself. And then the next one's like Zeldin was seen like eating children in the basement of a pizzeria in DC. It's like, what the hell's happening? Like, I don't understand where these things are even coming from. Like, how could so much money be put on both sides where they're saying such strong things on both sides? Like, one of them has to be like incorrect. You know what I mean? There's no way they're both correct.
And it's crazy. It's like you want to Like, I think at the beginning they do start with this is going to be my policy. I'm going to run on my policy. And then one person goes a little bit negative, and then their team kind of fires back with a little bit more negative. And next thing you know, it's just relentless. All I see is that this Mark Kelly guy in Arizona voted for all these IRS agents. It's like the only thing they tell us about. You're like, dude, there's got to be more to the story than all that. And it's just relentless. It's just negative. It's shit everywhere. So it's fucking hard, man. It's hard to if you consider yourself, I try to consider myself like a swing voter, and I can be swayed. And like, I'm not just gonna follow the party line no matter what. And like, it's just hard, man. It's hard to make a legitimate, informed decision.
Yeah.
Pat Ryan is just really soft on crime, and that's a concern of mine. So
That's the line they're really going with. Is that
something
all the
I gotta
Democrats are
I
soft
gotta deal
on crime?
with.
I'm getting a lot of this guy wants the murderers on the street. I've been told that a lot of humans want murderers on the street, which again, like Rich said, it's just hard to believe. It's just hard to believe.
How is this guy in power if that's what he wants? He just wants murderers everywhere. It's like, fuck, that can't be
Crazy.
true.
It's crazy out
It's
there.
wild.
It is.
Well, we're going to do our own version of it. I got a list of questions, and they're yay or nay questions, and we're going to call it foreplay polls, and everyone's
man.
going to vote yay or nay, and we're going to get to that part. We haven't gotten there yet. From Bolt to Blazer, Equinox to Silverado, Chevy EVs are for everyone everywhere. We love Chevy, we love Chevrolet, and now Chevrolet is offering a variety of their established full-line brands in EV vehicles with the value and variety and the value customers all over the world have come to expect. Chevrolet has electric vehicles available now. You can buy now the Bolt EV, the Bolt EUV, and reserve now the Blazer EV and the Silverado EV. I highly recommend you go to Chevrolet's website and go check out those Blazers or those Silverados. You can toy with the colors, the different models. You can order them and get the EV and see what they look like. It's a very fun activity, if we're being honest with each other.
I finally saw the commercial too, Frankie. I've been watching Islander games, and that's where you see that commercial. They run that commercial all the time, so I finally saw it.
Can you hear it calling out your name? It's so good, dude.
It's a really good commercial. I really enjoy it.
Very happy vibes.
Yeah, Chevrolet. It's the best. I actually talked about Chevrolet in one of the foreplay verses when I was at the Bethpage Black. And the more I talked about it, my guy Soupy, who filmed for me, who was just a single that I matched up with, was like, "Man, that was a hell of a read for Chevrolet." He's like, "I gotta start looking." He's like, "The Bolt and the Blazer, they're all."
Gotta check these things
He
out.
literally said like the Blazer's EV now. I was like, "Yeah, man, it's fucking EV." So yeah,
Hell yeah.
it was pretty cool.
Chevrolet, EVs for everyone everywhere. Go check them out. We got much to discuss because we've got 20% off ugly Christmas sweaters coming out. So today, I think 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time when you're listening to this.
If you're looking
I know
on
you
YouTube,
might be thinking,
you can't
too
believe
fucking
the
early.
shirt that I'm wearing.
Can't believe I'm getting Christmas. Well, guess what? You got to prepare. When you go to that party, those parties start early, man. December 1st, you're going to know people that are throwing Christmas parties, holiday parties, whatever you want to call it. We're going to call it Christmas on this show. Sorry, Dan. Those people are going to be wanting you to be
No
ready
problem.
and prepared
It's fine.
and have the gear that you need to have. So you need to order it. You're going to get 20% off. Go to the website, store.barstoolsports.com today. We got really cool sweaters and they're ready and you can buy them and it's great. So check those out.
Who is the first athlete that comes to mind when Frankie and I do this with like the jersey when you hold it up? Does anybody come to mind in particular for you guys?
Dwayne Wade.
Okay.
I feel like didn't he stand on the scorer's table and like do this?
Yeah, he made like a half court buzzer beater.
He definitely stood on the scorer's table. I don't know if this was a part of it, but he was talking about how this is his city.
This is my house. This is my city.
I like that. I like
Is
that.
it
a lot.
Kobe? Did Kobe do that?
Kobe did the pull the nipple out. Remember he did the. that
Oh,
one?
yeah, that's right. Okay.
I'd like to be clear and say that there is no right answer to this because a lot of players have done it. A lot of professional athletes have held up their jersey being like, this is who I play for and this is the best team in the world. I was just wondering if anybody had like a vivid
Who's
memory
your
with
guy,
a-
Trent? Because clearly you had someone in your mind.
No, I was thinking who was the it's crazy that I can't remember his name. Who was the brash college basketball player for Ole Miss? Alex might know. Who
Is Alex
you know,
even alive? Because the Jets absolutely fucking dismantled his Bills.
There we go. I
yesterday.
knew that was coming.
Frankie was
Alex
talking
Bush-
a lot of shit.
Alex
in the group
Bush is
chat.
an absolute pathetic human being that went to MetLife Stadium, thought he'd just steamroll the pathetic New York Jets, that it was going to be a home game for the Bills, and they were taking over MetLife Stadium, the real New York team. I saw a bunch of these tweets, and then all of a sudden the Jets came in and absolutely ground and pounded these guys. Their defense is insane. We were cooking Sunday sauce. Josh Allen didn't know what was going on. He was seeing ghosts out there. And the Jets are fucking rolling right now, boys. They should have won against New England. These Jets could win the division. I'm going to a game December 22nd.
Let's
They
relax,
could.
Frank.
Didn't they
could
get
clinch.
pumped? Didn't they lose to New England by like 20?
Yeah, but they could clinch a playoff spot when I go to this game December 22nd. It's going to be unbelievable. I've never had this excitement in like 10 years for the Jets. It's unbelievable. But Alex, who was that player from Ole Miss?
I don't even know. No idea.
I looked it up. It's Marshall Henderson. For
Okay.
whatever reason, there's a clip of him where that went viral, where he was talking shit to the crowd, and that's a really random one because there's so many players that have done it. Like Bryce Harper's been doing it. R.I.P. the Phillies, but he's kind of been doing the same thing where he throws his hands across the Phillies logo.
It's the thing
But-
to do when you get put on the jumbotron. I always used to make fun of people at the Islander games, like, "Oh, I'm on the screen. I'm gonna waggle this logo on my chest."
Yeah, because you got to do
what
something.
else are you supposed to
People
do?
just Panic. Yeah, you just panic.
You panic.
You got to do something.
Alex,
We were
you-
on-
Alex, you can retort.
I-
By the way, you went to the game. It was probably a fun time. But I mean, what did you see in the Bills yesterday?
Probably the worst game Josh played in his probably since 2019. But we won by 3 points and played the best game ever against a beat up defense in a bad game. 17 game preseason. So enjoy it.
This is all this is all every single game is a preseason game.
Yeah, it's a preseason game. It's just
I think
working
that's
towards
fair.
beating
I
the
think
Chiefs
it's
in the
probably a fair
playoffs.
point.
It's actually a really good comeback. It's
I
better
have
than
a
expected.
trend. I have a trend that came across my desk yesterday.
You're putting this out there
Yeah.
because I know about it because we've talked about it.
Well, yeah, we have the Barstool Sports book, and I have something that I think is really, really valuable for people to listen to. So, Barstool Sports book, I was in New Jersey. I placed my bets because I came across this thing that is an amazing trend. So, and I don't know the numbers, I don't know the years. I'm actually going to make up the numbers and the years, but just know that this trend is correct. Let's say over the last 10 years or so, any spread that is 9.5 or greater, you always bet the under. And here's the two reasons why. I think it's like 60% of these games have been hitting the under over a long period of time. The reason is because when there's that big of a spread, right, that large of a spread, the team that is favored is either going to blow the doors off this bad team and then take the foot off the gas at the end, or the worst team is going to play unbelievable defense, just like the Jets did yesterday, and they're going to make this a tight game. Yesterday, the Jets over and under was what, 43.5 against the Bills? 44.5? And they just played unbelievable defense where it was never a doubt that game was going to be under. And then all of a sudden you have the Chiefs game last night. It's a 13-point favorite. What happens? Amazing defense by the Titans. This game goes into overtime, 17-17. That's an automatic under. Both unders, since I found this, that came across my desk, they both hit. I'm 2-0. I'm telling you right now, when there's a spread that's 9.5 or greater, you have to bet the under.
Okay, I got to go the flip side of this because I saw this tweet as well. It was early in the week. I saw this trend. So I bet the under in the Texans-Eagles game, which was 44.5, and they went for 2 on the final touchdown, and it was 45, and it didn't hit. So you got it at the right time.
It was close though, right?
It was very close. No, the theory definitely, it's one of the few trends, because I always think I catch one of these trends and then you're reminded that there are no trends. Like you're just wrong. Anything that if you think you found an insider little hook, you're wrong. If you bet on it, you're going to lose. But this one actually does seem like it has staying power. Like it's been that way for the last 10 years. The problem with these things is that you just have to commit to them. You have to commit to them for like an extended period of time in order to actually see the
I would
benefit.
also argue,
betting
doesn't
trend.
Vegas account for that? Like, doesn't Vegas say that like the
That's what
under
I
will
would
then
think.
be lower than it should be because they account for this?
Yeah, but I don't know what's going on, but the numbers work where anything over 50% you have to take. Something's going on with my mic, by the way, where it's like automatically making me lower. So Alex Bush is going to be an absolute nightmare. I think it's on some sort of regulating system. But yeah, if you find anything over 50%, you have to take that trend because that's just
Definitely.
winning and gambling.
I'm always curious what Vegas puts into, like, what's in the formula, because what you're saying might be right, Riggs, but that also feels like something that wouldn't be included. They're looking at who's playing, the weather, blah, 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 all this stuff that everybody knows about. And for them to then look at being like, oh, but there's also this trend that's going on where when it's a double-digit favorite, we need to lower the over-under because people are hammering at this too many times. Like, that seems like, and now they might be doing that because they're Vegas and they're smarter than everybody else, but it just seems like that can't be something that goes into it.
I would just guess that their algorithm does account for that, of like, okay, over millions of games or whatever it is, thousands of games, that the under, even though it's projected to be X, whenever the spread is as high as this, the under tends to be 0.75 points lower than it does otherwise. So they factor that in. Like, I don't know that some big brain, like it's not Deal or No Deal where there's a guy sitting behind the screen that's like, you know what? These fuckers on Twitter are like trending, so I'm going to go down a little bit. I just would guess that like their large numbers are, they got to be factoring that in. But like Frankie's saying, which is tough because we don't have the exact numbers on this show. We haven't presented those yet. But just if it's generally been successful over a general period of time, then I guess you got to take it.
I am picturing a Wizard of Oz character. I'm picturing someone behind a curtain being like, I hear those foreplay guys talking about that 60% double-digit trend, so we're going to factor that in this week.
I think they factor it into the over at all times, just human behavior, which I think is that people bet on the over much more than they bet on the under. I just think that that's like a, I don't know if that sounds right, doesn't it?
Well, I took the under twice yesterday, 2-0, but it was not something I enjoyed. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's not because you have to. The way with an over is like you're rooting for both teams. So every time someone has the ball, it's a good thing, and you can win the bet very quickly. Basically, right? If it's like 14-14 in the first quarter, the under you got to lock in all game. And you're never really out of the woods, especially if you're playing against the Chiefs or something.
You're never safe.
Exactly, because they can score 21 points right in the end. And anytime when both teams have the ball, you're playing defense. Like you get, that nervousness you get when the other team's on the ball. That's the whole time. So I'm not a huge fan of betting unders, and I don't think the public is either. So I think Vegas can afford with setting the over/under a little higher than the algorithm says it would be, because they know that humans are dumb and like to bet on the over.
Every time the team is in the red zone is the most stressful time of the day.
It's terrible.
You're rooting for a fumble, an interception, and at worst, a field goal. So when they somebody gives up like an easy touchdown, you're like, you guys are pathetic. Your defense is absolutely pathetic.
When you bet the under, though, you're less likely to be mad at someone. Like when you bet the under and there's just shit football going on and like they don't get it in, it's kind of like, great, like that's good for you. If there's really good football going on that ends up taking over the over, you're not like mad at that. When you're betting the over and nobody can score, you're like, this fucking quarterback sucks. Like this team, what are they doing? They're fucking horrible. How do you not make that catch? And like you just get mad at everyone. You think they suck. Whereas when you're betting the under, you're sort of just like, yeah, no, it's a hard game. I get that. Like, of course you're not going to make that play all the time. That's why I bet the under. And it's a little bit easier, like peace of mind, but you're never safe when you're betting the under. Never.
I had the under in that Bucks game last night, and that was such an ugly football game that I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was also like every Iowa football game that I've watched over the last 3 years. So when a game is trending in the direction of, oh, this reminds me of an Iowa football game, that's a good game to have the under, and I had it last night. And then, it was just never in doubt. Brady came back and won the game, but that didn't matter to me.
I also was as sharp as anyone's ever been in gambling. I was watching the Celtics game, just a random Celtics game, and who the fuck were they playing? The Celtics were playing.
Played the Knicks the other night.
No. The Celtics were playing. Wow, I have something wrong with me, man. Whatever. The Celtics were playing another basketball team. And they were they were like 9-point favorites, maybe 7.5-point favorites to start the game. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait.
Cavs.
The Bulls.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm just going to wait until the Bulls just get out to an early lead, right? First quarter, second quarter, they're down by 12. This fucking line goes down to 3.5. I hammer it. The fucking Celtics win by 4. I mean, I was seeing the board, man. Like the game started at 8.5, and I'm like, I'm going to wait until it gets to 3.5. They win by 4. One last free throw. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's good stuff.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
That is good stuff.
Maybe throw it in the chat every once in a while, but other than that, that's good stuff.
I know. And then the worst was I almost when the Bruins came back against the Penguins the other night, they were down like 5-3 in the third period. I looked around my house. I said, the Bruins are going to win this game. I looked at the Barstool Sportsbook, and I was like, well, actually, at that point, I actually couldn't place this bet because we were in New York. So I was like, if I could do this right now, I'm telling you right now that this thing would fucking go. They were plus 3,500, and they ended up winning that game. God, the Bruins are good at hockey.
And then Frankie does
All
the
right.
worst thing ever and texts our group being like, "Hey, I thought about doing this and I thought about texting you guys." It's like that doesn't do anybody any.
No, it doesn't. It's not
None.
great. Okay, we got some things to get into. We've got a quick. Dumbarton Link Scotland comes out on Thursday. We'll talk a lot more about it on Thursday's podcast, like we usually do. But yes, I believe that's coming out. Is that right, Alex Bush?
Yep.
There you go.
He really doesn't
You
want to
turn your
talk
mic off
today.
again, Alex?
Thursday night.
He's really not in a good mood today.
Thursday night.
Thursday night it's coming out, so we'll talk more about that on Thursday's show. But really cool, spectacular place. It's gonna be a great video. Our boy Alistair Doherty, at current time, he wears Barstool gear, Barstool golf gear. We're working on an official contract with him, so he's going to be, I believe, our first professional golfer that's going to rock all of our stuff. Anyways, he's at Final Stage Q School. I don't know a ton about this. None of us do, except Dan, probably. But there's like 150 players that make it to Final Stage Q School. There's pre-qualifying, there's first stage, second stage. You got to get through all that. And then obviously final stage, 150 players. A lot of really big names in there, like Wesley Bryan's even in there trying to get his card. Top 40 and ties are guaranteed starts in the first 8 events on the Korn Ferry Tour next season, which is massive. And then, top 10 get some like even more special stuff. Top 1 or 2 that, get all kinds of stuff. He's T41 going into the final round today. Tees off soon, so he's going to be teeing off, I believe, while we're talking about this podcast. But he shot 66 in the third round to vault himself back in after a dog shit 76 in the first round. Posted, I think, 1 or 2 under in the second round, 6 under 6 or 4 or 5 under 66 in the third round. Point is, he's T41. He needs T40 or better to have guaranteed 8 starts. And then if he doesn't finish T40, he still has conditional status, which I'll be honest, I've never known what that meant. What does conditional status mean?
Conditional status means that like you're on the list, but they have to go really far down to get to your name, basically. Like you're not going to get any starts on your own number, but you can get starts if other guys in front of you drop out. So anybody who's
Kind of in the
tournament,
queue.
You're in the queue. That's exactly right.
Yeah, it's like you're at St. Andrews, you got up early, you're in the queue,
Yeah.
you're trying to get on the golf
Yeah,
course.
it's like you don't have a hard tee time, but like maybe,
You're online.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I got an update on Mr. Doherty because they've already started. He is 1 under through 4 and T37, so he's on the number right now. This is a absolutely massive afternoon.
This
for
is a
Mr.
sweat,
Doherty.
and he's going to be getting. They're live streaming the final round, and they're pretty much focusing on the leader and then the bubble boys. And our guy is the definition of a bubble boy right now. So I mean,
yeah, he's this is if you make it, if you get in the top 40, you get 8 starts. It's a lot of starts. If you're a professional golfer, you think, all right, in 8 starts, I'm gonna be able to make something happen. I'm gonna have 1 or 2 good finishes, get the rest of the year. If not, then you're looking at Mondays and mini tours again. It's really nervous. And also, one more note about Q School I wanted to bring up here. Brandon Hagee is playing Q School this week. He was on the PGA Tour a couple weeks ago. Do you guys know who Brandon Hagee's caddy is?
No.
Joe LaCava Jr.
unreal.
Yeah, and so I asked Joe yesterday, I said, hey, are you, is this like a one-time thing? Or he's like, actually, I think I'm going to give this a shot. So, like father, like son, Joe Jr. is going to be on Brandon Hagee's bag this year on the Korn Ferry Tour.
What a
That's
family.
incredible.
I got
That is
faith in
absolutely
Alistair,
incredible.
man. We've been following him, and I just think he's got it. He's got the thing that's going to push him across. He's going to get 8 starts next year, and then the world is his going forward. I got all the confidence in the world in him. Now, it's a very nervy time for him, I'm sure. It sounds like he's playing well so far. So best of luck to Alistair. We're going to be following it.
Well, T37 action right now. So, whoo, what a grind that is.
It's going to be
What
a grind and a half. I mean, this is the grind of all grinds. This is it, basically.
It's
this is one
just going to
tournament for
come
your
down
whole
to
year.
one stroke. It's just no matter what we do over these next 3 hours, none of it matters. It's going to come down to one stroke. We all know it. We can all sense it. Whew. All right. What else do I have on here? Bama lost. We have to shout that out.
Yeah, devastating.
Sorry, Jake Bass.
Jake
Really bummed
Bass.
out about that. I'm sure he's listening, grinding over this right now. So really, really big bummer for y'all down there in Bama, but they lost. They're done. They're done. So they're out.
They're done.
Sorry.
What are they,
They're done.
10th in the SEC rankings now?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, no,
it's
not the SEC
great.
rankings, but the official AP poll.
Ugh, gross.
I don't understand how the SEC works. So there's an East and the West, right? And then both the first of each division then plays in the SEC championship. Is that how that works?
Yes.
yeah, that's how the
Okay.
Big Ten works too now. There's
Okay.
Iowa's in the West, and then there's an East, and whoever wins each separate division then plays in their Big Ten or the championship, conference championship.
So you
And
play
so that
every
won't be
team
bad.
from every East team plays every other East team, and then they play a few others from the West. It rotates depending on the year.
That's right.
So I don't
And
think
Iowa-
Alabama plays Georgia this year, but they only would have played Georgia if they made it to the championship game.
Like Iowa won the West last year, and then they got the shit kicked out of them in Indianapolis, which I was in person for.
Yeah,
went
and
there,
Northwestern
right?
won the
Saw
West the year
that
before.
game.
People forget.
Baton Rouge on Saturday night. I'm not sure.
Did they
if you
play
saw that,
Michigan?
but they lost.
They did play Michigan. They got the doors blown off. Dave and I went.
That's
We
right.
got to talk about the dozen. This is our first time on air since our dozen show has aired.
All-time
what are your
screw
guys'
job.
thoughts? What are your guys' thoughts
all-time
about
screw
it?
job.
Whole cans.
Just
All
hard.
cans.
Just hard to really
I
accept.
thought you were saying whole cans. WHOLE cans the whole time. I thought that, and we don't know shit about the show, so I was just sitting here like, all right, yeah, it must be it. You were saying Hulk hands.
Whole cans, and it was a screw job.
Hulk Hogan
You know,
hands.
the
Impossible to
public,
Incredible Hulk hands.
the public is on our side. They're saying that in terms of difficulty, our niche question with the Big Bang Theory was much more difficult than Tommy's with Impractical Jokers. So the public is on our side in that. And it was devastating because in my heart of hearts, I thought that it was Hulk hands. And I said it so confidently. And then it ended up that also in that episode, there's a first bribery that was the Green Lantern that I, as a Big Bang Theory guy, I probably should have known that.
Yeah, but
The
Trent,
question-
when I rewatched the footage, you said it's one of two things. So did you know that there were two briberies? If you watch the footage, you say, "Man, it could be one or two things." I think it's Hulk hands.
Oh, I don't remember saying that.
You did say that. You said it's one of two things. And you like chuckle and you say, "I think it's Hulk hands."
So I must have in the back of my head realized that there were two, and I went with, because I know the Green Lantern is in that episode. I just thought that Hulk hands, because I'm picturing, no one else watched that show, so it's not going to make any sense to describe. But he's talking about the Hulk hands. He's excited to get the Hulk hands. Raj doesn't want to give the Hulk hands up, and he finally does. Blah 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 blah. So I guess I must have known, but regardless, that was a heartbreaker. I really, because if I get that right, we pretty much win the win the match.
We
Right.
win.
So,
Yeah.
That aside, is an incredibly entertaining episode. People seem to really enjoy it. A little controversy goes a long way, so that helped us
Does.
as
Long
well.
way. Long
But
way.
I am impressed with our dozen performance. I look forward to playing again. I just wish we could have gotten a W that first time.
And I would like us to get, can we lobby to get a few categories tweaked? Like, can we get NHL? Because everybody we go up against, like, the categories that are in the game are pretty much their wheelhouse. Now, I get that there's general, like the celebrity stuff, NBA, NFL, like big stuff, fine. But, like, can we get a fucking hockey question? One of the four major sports, two of the guys on the show were pretty into hockey. And, like, I feel like we get skewed against the shit that we actually know about.
I think Jeff D. Lowe regrets not putting an NHL question in because you guys are NHL guys. Glenny is an NHL guy. There's enough people that know NHL on both sides where it would have been a fair question. I think Jeff D. Lowe, I remember, I don't know if you put it in the episode, but after we got done recording, he was like, yeah, I probably should have put an NHL question in. So I think going forward, we will get an NHL question, maybe a golf question. I don't know. But an NHL
Golf
one
question
would
would be nice.
Golf question would be really
Golf
nice.
question would be nice. We do the guys had a fucking, Tommy does like a Major League Baseball Yankees podcast, and like there's a baseball question. So, I mean, maybe we get a fucking golf question. I don't know. That would help.
It was funny seeing you guys coming because I wasn't involved. It was 3-on-3. So seeing you guys come back into the room because I think you guys did it right before we did a podcast.
We did.
And you guys were rattled. You guys were legitimately really upset.
We lost a couple like shitty questions. Like obviously I kind of sewered us on the geography question. I thought
Yeah, but like that was just a crapshoot.
Santa
That
Monica
was a
was south.
crapshoot.
yeah, that
you
was
guys
tough.
couldn't call me. You'd already used the phone a friend.
Yeah,
We already used it.
Yep.
and
On
we
our
needed
movie
that
question.
because it was a hard question about a movie that Ken Jack nailed. So there was a couple questions that we definitely should have gotten. We could have still won it even without the niche category. That's not where it was won and lost. It's almost like blaming a goalie at the end of a game for like giving up one goal when he made like 41 saves. Like there's a lot of other chances. But fuck, it was right there. And I think we were so excited about it because we got the doors blown off us the first two times that we played. Like we weren't even close. The first time I played with Tommy and Hubs, and I think to this day hold the record for least amount of questions answered. I just stood there and didn't say a word. So like to be able to like answer some questions. I know a lot of people did not like this angle I have of my camera. I was in the chat of the YouTube page and it was a sewer system down there. I mean, I'm talking the most ridiculous things being said I've ever seen in my entire life. Jeff D. Lowe gets like 11,000 people to watch these things live. And there's so many people commenting that I have all these screens. I'm typing with my toes. The problem is I have these huge screens. If you guys saw how many screens I had in front of me right now in my new like office, it's actually laughable. I've got the most screens of all time. And I'm looking at these huge screens. Everything's fucking full screen. So my eyes, even I was watching it on TV being like, I'm looking all over the place. But you're looking at people's faces. So now they're in my head. The dozen is in my head. I'm going to be sitting all the way back here next time with my hands on my head just to make sure there's no questions.
Well, another part of that is some of those viewers just know us as like, we're the golf guys. I'm the Bachelorette guy. I'm the Bachelor guy. I remember when I answered the last season, I got an NBA question right. And they were like, how can this guy who only watches reality TV possibly answer an NBA question? When in reality, like, Frankie likes baseball, Riggs like hockey, I like the NBA like a decent amount. Like, we have things outside of our lives. So when we answer questions that people don't think we're going to know the answers to, they're like, that person's cheating. When in reality, we're just sitting here listening to the questions and being like, holy fuck, I hope I know one answer to any of these questions. Nobody's cheating.
Frankie, you also have the comment culture pegged better than anyone on earth, yet you're also the most vulnerable to it at any given moment.
Correct.
I know. I try and sway the opinion in there because I'm like, are you guys actually this outrageous? Like, is everyone here that dumb? And then they just pile on you.
I can't believe you're in there, dude. Close up shop. Just pull your laptop down and just go on about your day.
I know. Just go on with your day.
Go cook or go. Who cares? All right, Trent. I know you're getting into the New York Islanders again this year, or I guess not again. More so, you bought the jersey. Captain Brock Nelson, the whole deal. How do you get your tickets again? I can't remember.
GameTime. You just go to GameTime. Wow. It's the best app for last minute tickets. If you're trying to go to a game or a show or whatever, GameTime's got it. You can start going to things. It's really fun to go to things, actually. Once you start doing it, it's the most fun.
GameTime is getting me into Madison Square Garden. I'm going to be a fucking, what is it? Lion and a...
Sheep in the lion's den?
Yeah. But you want to be the lion though. Lion in a...
But you're not going to be probably.
I'm going to be.
At MSG?
Oh yeah.
You're going to be a conquering hero. You're going to be
conquering hero. But what's that saying I'm looking for? Lion in a hen house? No, fox in a hen house.
Fox in a hen house.
That's right.
I'm going to be a fox in a hen house.
Yeah, you're the bad guy.
Thanks to GameTime, I'm going Islanders, Rangers, MSG tonight. GameTime's getting me in because I went last minute shopping on their website and on their app, and I got into MSG. They don't know what's about to hit them. They don't know what's about to hit them at MSG. I cannot wait. Come on.
GameTime, exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. You go to shows, concerts, games, whatever you would like to go to, you can get it on GameTime. They're going to have the best deals. They got a great app. It's easy interface. Quick, download the GameTime app. Go to the account tab to create a login. Redeem code FORE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download GameTime. Last minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. Redeem code FORE.
I played the black the other day, and I joined up with some like absolute amazing human beings. I love playing that public golf, just showing up by yourself and just matching up with somebody. And this one guy, Kevin, who we call Soupy, I think his name is Kevin Campbell's, and he says call me Soupy, which was awesome. He said, by the way, he filmed my foreplay versus, and he was like on his stomach, like filming like the putts and like the chips and going crazy. It was hilarious. I'm like, what is happening? This guy came to play the black today, and I have him like on his stomach. And then I met my guy Roy, who owns a like a Polynesian style like dumpling place in the city. He said you have to come, and I plugged it in the next video. It's unbelievable. But so. We're walking down one of the fairways. I think it was the 11th fairway where I lied about Derek Jeter. I told people for like 7 or 8 years that I had seen Derek Jeter hit his 3,000th hit. I said that I watched it at home with my dad. Really, I was at Bethpage Black and I missed it. I was on the 11th fairway, and it took me a long time to really admit it. I think I admitted it on this show, one of my first shows. So that's where I
Dude,
was.
were you at a point where you almost believed that you saw it?
Yeah, I did. I thought like
Yeah.
I can remember where I was sitting.
And was this before you could like stream stuff on your phone, so you just
Yeah.
didn't see it at all?
What was it, 2011 or something like that?
Yeah.
I was. It was one of those things where everything. It was like Aaron Judge watch. You couldn't miss an at bat because you didn't know when Jeter was going to do it. And I was a Derek Jeter fanatic. I had the fat heads in my room. I had the whole thing. And the fact that I just decided to go play the black that day was really unfortunate. He gets that home run off David Price. And I just told everyone, like, yeah, I'm getting text messages. I'm getting calls from friends. I'm like, can you believe this? And I'm like trying to hold the wind in the phone because I'm in front of my TV. I can't believe it. I'm crying. And it took me like 5 or 6 years to really admit that I didn't see it live. I saw it afterwards. But on the 11th hole, Kevin is like, I really like your guys' content. Like, I'm a big fan. I love everything you guys do. He's like, man, those like commenters just like,
Oh man,
they fucking hate you guys. Like, how do you guys make like advertising money? Like, and all he's like so confused as to how we're like a legitimate brand. He's like, I just don't get like on like the Barstool page, like why they're so mean. And I had to explain to him the comment culture, where the only reason that they comment something is to write something more negative than the one before them. It's the same culture as Yelp. No one actually has a good meal, goes home and writes a review. It's always, how can I become noticed?
How nice that meal was.
How can I be noticed? How can
rattled.
me, as a pathetic internet user, be fucking noticed on the internet? And it's because the reason that they get noticed is because they write something outlandishly mean, which is like, I see it. It's like funny. That's the way that they do it. Like they're just going to write something crazier than the next person and they're going to get noticed that way. So it was funny to have to explain it to him. He's like, yeah, it kind of does make sense. And then he's like doing the math. He's like, yeah, 600,000 people watch a video. There's only 2,000 comments. Like, even if like only 100 of them are bad, like what are the numbers on that? He's like, it's insane. He's like,
And the bad ones aren't even genuine.
right, exactly.
No, and
So that was
I've
fun.
had to explain this to my parents all the time. My mom will call me on a Monday and be like, how are you? I'm like, I'm fine. I'm good. She's like, you been reading the comments? I'm like, trying not to, Mom. She's like, well, good, because of these people. I mean, my mom, I think my parents are ready to go to bat for me after reading these comments.
My parents are like that too. My parents are like that too.
I guess, do they finally like get used to it and realize that like everyone hates your son? You just kind of have to deal with it?
No, I don't think. Yeah, I had to explain the same thing that Frankie just explained to those nice gentlemen that he played golf with, where it's such a small percentage, and I just tell them don't read them because it's not reality. Like things are going well. Like this job is good enough. This is when I first had to move. I was like, I can move to New York. I can pay my rent. Everything's fine. And they still read them, but they read them with a different demeanor. They're like, those guys don't know what they're talking about. I'm like, no, they don't, Mom. But please stop reading them. So they still read them, but in a different way.
Right.
Yeah, my mom finds it funny. Like my dad, I don't think could find the comments. He doesn't even know that exists. My mom I think she just thinks they're funny, but she just gets it. She's like, yeah, no, it's the fucking internet. Like the internet's the internet. It's not a real world. Frankie always used the best example of like, how about that guy is like this writing like, I can't believe Frankie has a job. Stuo Presidente, fire this fucking twig, and then like puts it down and is like, honey, it's time to flip the asparagus.
Yeah, it's insane.
Dude, like,
I want to respond to
What are
some
you
of these
doing?
people, and I don't do it because I know that's what they want. Like they would love that, but I want to not publicly. I just want to DM them and be like, "What's going on, man? Like, why are you writing that? Why is that so mean?" Because we've talked about this, Riggs. Is like when you see these people, when I've seen people in person, when I've seen a lot of people in person, we've been traveling a lot. They're like, "This is going so well. I'm so happy for you. The podcast is so great." And then you go online, and it's a totally different thing. So you get the sense that these people who are commenting these things, if they saw us in person, probably would not say the same thing.
Also, if you
No.
listen to too much of it or read too much of it, it will start to distort your reality, which is not where you want to be. Because like you're saying, the people in person are super nice. They're the people who watch the content and then turn it off. They're like, that was cool, and now I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah.
But then if you listen too much to the comments or read them, and you start to believe them, you're like, which is true? Which is
Right,
true? Which is
right.
true?
Am I doing a terrible job? Did I ruin the show? Did I ruin the show?
Right, and you didn't. But people will have you believe that you did. They will have you believe that you are the worst person ever, that you are the worst person at your job. And if you start to buy too much into it, you will forget about the people who you see in person who are like,
Right.
it's going great, man. This is awesome. You'll be like, I don't understand what's right and what's wrong. And that's a bad place to be.
they'll
It's
also
like
be
35 of the
if-
same people. It's like 35 of the same people writing the same things on every video. It's the craziest
It
shit.
tells you a lot too that somebody will be, they'll be like, it's outrageous. This person still has a job. Fire them already. Said he was going to aim a cup left and he aimed a foot and a half left. And I'm like, That was 4.5 minutes into that video. So you're following
Yes.
them. And then you're watching the entire video. And then you're bitching about how the person still has a job. You watched the whole fucking thing. It's like, what are you doing? You're watching everything. So you got to remove yourself from it. Like I said, close up shop and just fucking move on.
Just do something else.
It's just four guys doing their best. You know, it's just
Pretty
four
much it.
I
guys
have to watch it.
trying to make internet content. And that's it. I don't know.
You don't have to watch it.
There's nothing sinister at play. Yeah, we got a couple lucky bounces, and now we're on this golf podcast and golf YouTube channel. And Dave Portnoy is our boss, and it's an amazing opportunity. And that was it. That's really it. People think there's so much more going on when it's just like, bro, we wake up every morning and we're just trying. We're just trying shit, and then people are yelling at us, and we're still just like, all right, man, we're gonna keep trying. It's as simple as that. It's crazy.
You guys ever had any bad real life interactions?
No.
Basically a commenter version of a real life interaction? Well,
Only at golf courses when people get like shit faced drunk at like a golf event. I've had like 2 or 3 where guys are in a big group being like, "You're fucking pathetic, Frankie." And I'll be like, all right.
But
And
even
then
that is
friends
just like
are
talking
this
shit.
guy's an asshole.
That's
It's like,
just
he's
talking shit. That's not like, you're terrible. You ruined the show. I'm never going to listen to Foreplay ever again because you're on it. You know what I mean? Like, those are just drunk.
Did you
people
find my
chirping.
burner? I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
No, I'm in the same boat as Frankie. I think I've had 1 or 2. I actually remember being at the Black during whenever we were there, the PGA. And when people get late in the night, and I was trying to rush out there to go find a group. And you're right. It's when people get drunk that they're like, all right, now I can say this thing to this person that I follow on the internet. I see him in person. I'm going to try it. And I got one, and I was like, that was weird, man. And he was like, and he walked away. I was like, all right, cool. Fuck, I don't know what to do now.
Say, I bet it's been less than 5 in 7 years of doing this whole thing that
For sure.
have been truly negative. Like Dan's saying, there's obviously when people are just kind of like busting balls or shit. But I would say there's definitely been a few where I'm like, oh, that was malicious. That guy was like trying to say he hates what we do. But
Is that
I would say
mostly
it's
from
happened,
fans or
like-
from like other media people?
No, it would be.
No, I'm saying like human beings in real life that
Fans,
like interact
yeah.
and say like, hey, like, I don't know, walk by and be like, Riggs, you're terrible. Like you're ruining golf like that. But I'd say that's happened 3 or 4 times, maybe like ever. And so it happens on the internet all over but so it's just a funny like difference between clearly the comment section and real life. Okay. Mayakoba real quick. Russell Henley wins, 4th win. Great for him. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I was put this down in my notes as like maybe the most classic example of a tournament that I don't know how this even exists or makes money. $8.5 million, $8.2 million purse. He made $1.5 million. I saw a bunch of guys tied for 3rd, including our boy Scotty Scheffler and our boy Joel Damon, which is great. They made $375,000 for that. But if this tournament disappears, like does it? And this is a real genuine conversation, not shitting on the tournament, but we talk a lot about LIV and PGA Tour and how the PGA Tour's got all this gravitas to it and people care so much about it. This is a good example, if you're going to play devil's advocate, in my opinion, of something that like, who the fuck cares about the Mayakoba tournament in November, right?
Yeah. So last year I went to this tournament, and it's held at this incredibly beautiful resort in Mexico. There's like 3 hotels, kind of like Bahamas, where they share a campus. It's called Mayakoba, and there was no one there. There's like no fans there.
Yeah.
And I remember I was staying at the Andaz Hotel, which is a really, really nice hotel, on like a media rate. And I had the same thought that Riggs had of like, what's going on here? Like how are we all at this amazingly beautiful place in Mexico? We all have our stuff paid for, and there's no one watching the tournament. The way I conceptualize this one is it's sponsored by this company called Worldwide Technology, which is like a really, really big cybersecurity company. And I basically think they use this as an event to entertain their business partners. Because last year, I remember
put them up in the hotels and all that bullshit.
That's what it is. They put them up in the hotels. They say, come to Mexico. They play golf themselves at other courses. And, if they have to put up $7 or $8 million to keep their biggest corporate partners happy because they can hang out in the hospitality and come to Mexico for a week, then it's worth it for them to do so. But this is why the PGA Tour is getting out of the fall business. Like, there's just no juice at all. They asked Rory McIlroy last week, or whenever he won the event, he won the CJ Cup. They said, what should the fall season look like on the PGA Tour? And he said, football. It should just be football season.
Yeah.
Because this is like a tree falling in the forest. It didn't even really happen.
Right.
And look, it's great for a Russell Henley, for a Joel Damon. I told you guys I got beers with Joel like the 3 days before he left. And I was like, oh, when are you playing? He's like, I'm actually going to Mexico on Monday. And he's like, I know people shoot on the fall, but this is a great event for me. He's like, the field's weaker. My wife loves it. The spa's incredible. We have a really fun time. And when I play well there, I can make a good amount of money. So I go and it's great for me. So for a lot of guys on the tour that aren't necessarily Roy McIlroy, it's fucking great. And if the company, the Worldwide Technology Championship at Mayakoba, could justify it on their end, the tour is obviously going to take their money. They're going to keep the event going and all that bullshit. But this just stuck out to me as like, I mean, for a spectator, this is almost more like a live event than anything else. It's like the people on site, that there weren't that many, are there to like have a good time and kind of fuck around. It's not like life or death, who wins or loses. And the players are going to get paid to kind of go down to Mexico, play golf, and have themselves a good time. Yes, it's PGA Tour. They're still, I mean, you get into the, tournaments and exemptions by winning. So it's great on that front. But overall, I don't think a sports fan is really going to give a fuck about the Mayakoba.
Do you think there's any conversation in the PGA Tour about like average viewership for a tournament? So you look across the board and you say, this tournament gets that many, and obviously these new, I mean, they're new, the elevated events are new, but there have been quote unquote elevated events throughout history. And then you have a Mayakoba that just crushes the average, where everybody's watching football, everybody's watching the World Series, everybody's watching all these other sports that are going on. Nobody's going to turn on the Mayakoba golf tournament. Is there any conversation where it's like this thing negatively affects the average viewership to a degree where you almost want to shutter it? And I'm not suggesting that. I would
say, I bet this is one where they pitch to potential sponsors the average viewership for the year. And this is one where in another tournament, they pitch the average viewership for that tournament, right? Like they separate the two. That is what they got to be
doing. The way it's separated is this one's actually not on network TV. It's only on Golf Channel. So they can say, oh, our average, broadcast across our 20 event NBC season, which starts, in Hawaii and runs through the Tour Championship, they can weed out the fall events because they're not technically part of like the network package.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I think the network package, the viewership's been up. Like last year, even without Tiger, the golf has been doing really, really well viewership wise because of the boom and because there's a lot of, good young players who people like watching and participation's up. But I agree that I think yesterday is probably not a number they're going to want to publicize.
Congrats to Joel, our guy, playing well. T3, like to see it.
Almost made an ace on a par 4.
That was nuts. That hit the hole, right?
It did, yeah.
Because I don't know how you see a driver stop like that. That was an unbelievable shot. Colin and Scotty were up there as well, so good weeks for them. I would like to mention real quick, I saw Bryson DeChambeau's father passed away, and I saw his quote. Just reminded me that everybody's a person. I know on this show, like we've had our takes, most of them negative, especially lately on Bryson and the rope and the whole deal. Just a friendly little perspective pie reminder that everybody's a human being. When I saw his quote, it made me kind of sit back and be like, man, that just absolutely stinks. I felt very empathetic for him in that situation and the grief and the sorrow and losing your father. So that's terrible news. Feel for Bryson DeChambeau and obviously hope that he's and his family and all that are handling it well. So it just reminded me that Bryson's a person when I saw that come across my desk.
Totally, it's a good point.
The match. So we got a new announcement. I know it kind of leaked last week. We heard whispers about this for several weeks. I know our scoop guy, Dan, was really hoping to be able to run with this, but it's now been tweeted out from Tiger and everybody else that the next iteration of the match, Tiger Woods, Justin Thomas, Roy McIlroy, and Jordan Spieth, about as good of a cast of characters on the golf front as you could probably get at this point.
Pretty awesome. I think the natural teams is really nice too. Some of these times we've been like, who's going to play together? It seems kind of weird. It's like, nope. Tiger and Rory, they're going to make a gajillion dollars with Tomorrow Sports. They're obviously become really close the last couple of years talking about the future of the PGA Tour. And then you got JT and Spieth, who have been best friends since they were kids and who have been crushing it in the Ryder and the President's Cup. So we got natural teams. You got 4 of the 5 or 7 biggest names. And I talked about this. I wrote about this when it happened. Like the reemergence of these things, of these made for TV matches, has been a good thing. Just a undoubtedly good thing. There was a break there for a while, kind of between like 2005 and 2018, where they went away. It came back with Tiger playing Phil for $9 million on Black Friday a couple years ago, and they've been pretty consistent since. So we like the match. We like trying new things. It's 12 holes under the lights, made for TV. December 10th, golf is not anywhere near anyone's mind at that point. So we like to keep golf fresh, and these 4 are the perfect ones to do it.
12 holes, Pelican Golf Club.
Yeah.
I like that.
Do you think those are the 4 biggest stars active in golf?
Besides Phil, probably has the name recognition.
I don't know if Phil's a bigger star at this point. I don't know.
I think for the average Joe,
guess he
I mean, it
is.
obviously depends how you measure star, but yeah, all 4 of these guys were in the top like 7, I think, of the pit. Bryson and Brooks are up there too.
I think these are the
name
4.
recognition. But you think these are the 4?
I think these are the 4. I don't know that. I don't think Bryce and Brooks have JT star power. I think Spieth, Rory, Tiger are pretty obvious. I would say JT's. I think this is about the biggest 4 you could have.
If you had to power rank the star power of the 4, how would you rank them?
I think Tiger 1, Rory 2 is clear.
Spieth is a star.
You think Spieth is a bigger star than Rory?
I would go Tiger, Rory, Spieth, JT. I think everybody's got Tiger 1. Everybody's got JT 4. I think, yeah, that's right.
The only reason I say, and I don't necessarily think that Spieth is a bigger star than Rory, but there was something about that early run of his that really stuck with people. And Rory's been consistent throughout. He was the heir to the throne, although Spieth was also the heir to the throne. And Rory probably is a bigger star, actually, probably undoubtedly, but there's something about Spieth that people love, and they will love him forever. They'll never forget when he was winning the Masters at such a young age. He was so good, so young. I just think it's a conversation. Rory ultimately is a bigger star, but people fucking love Spieth. They love him.
They do love Spieth, man. He is like a roller coaster that you have to jump on, whereas Rory might be a bigger star, but I do think people almost get more emotionally invested in Spieth.
I don't know, man. When Rory's at the top, there's really nothing like it, dude.
Spieth's flaws are so apparent, and people love that about him. Rory's perfect, and you won't hear me argue against Rory on this podcast, really. But Spieth is Riggs is right. He's such a roller coaster that you just never totally know what you're going to get, and people love that.
When they cut to him and he's like behind a fucking tree with like, and you're just like, oh, it's Spieth. Here we go. Where it's like. Rory is just in the middle, and he hits it at 10 miles. But
he's so sticks out to me, and I always wonder about this with the sponsors. I've asked this question before, like, how did these companies get these guys to be exclusive? Like, I'm looking at the graphic right now, and it's all Nike Tiger, all Nike Rory, all Under Armour Jordan, and then you got JT, who's like Grayson, Titleist, Lineage. He's got all these like things on him. Like, what makes JT the guy that throws a bunch of sponsors?
Well, I know that
the other guys are exclusive.
Nike and Adidas typically have a one logo rule where you're not allowed to have anything else on the jersey.
How much are they
shirt.
paying those guys to be able to say like you're not throwing any other like for Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods? What is that number?
Yeah.
JT seems like he's doing it right. JT's
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna throw them all on here, and you're gonna pay me a shit ton of money for all of them.
Right, but I think he's probably getting less. I think you pay extra for the exclusivity.
Right.
But the thing about Rory and Spieth is they both have that kind of relatability, which is odd, right? Because they're both one's 32, one's 30, I think 30, and they've got $1 jillion. But they both were, as Trent mentioned, the heir apparent, the world at their fingertips, and then something happened. And so they're three-dimensional characters. They're not just like win, 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 win. You've got Rory, who's got this 8-year drought, and you've got Spieth, who was like legitimately a bad golfer for 2 or 3 years. So you have that extra element of not just are they young and really compelling and really eloquent guys, but you've got this sort of narrative arc of them trying to fight their way back.
Right. I think it makes them super interesting. I think they're two of the biggest stars, bar none. It's Rory. I think we probably would agree on that, but I don't know, there's something about Spieth that I just love, and I think everybody does.
Tiger Woods in a golf cart, baby, on television. Let's go. Both the Pearl Jam and now the Red Hot Chili Peppers concert at the Apollo are now live on the SiriusXM app. If you like good music, you cannot miss these shows. I know Dave used to talk about these a lot on the Dave Portnoy show because he would go to some of these. These shows sound unbelievable.
They're insane.
And I do like. You've been to a couple of these, Frankie?
No, but I've seen the videos. I've watched them.
They put them on there.
Yeah, I've seen them on SiriusXM. They are incredible quality. These bands, they actually give their best performances during these, like their small, intimate shows. They're at the Apollo, and they just go balls to the wall. Beautiful sound. They play all the hits. It's an amazing show to go to. Red Hot Chili Peppers, by the way, just you throw those guys on like a Saturday afternoon. You go through their catalog of music. It's unbelievable how good they were. And even just listening to Rick Rubin talk about like the start of Red Hot Chili Peppers and how like with all the drugs and they didn't have the right sound, and now they are so iconic. They are so iconic. They just came out with a new album, by the way, really good.
SiriusXM, you can sign up, listen to the shows on the SiriusXM app, and get your first 3 months free. Enjoy ad-free music channels for every genre and artist-dedicated channels. Stay informed. They got world-class news. So if you're listening to this show and you realize that what we're saying is not true or informed at all, and you want world-class news to inform you, they've got every angle. You can hear from the brightest stars in entertainment with original talk and exclusive comedy on the SiriusXM app. Get your first 3 months for free of the SiriusXM app when you visit SiriusXM.com/foreplay offer to sign up. Offer details apply. Again, that is SiriusXM.com/foreplay offer.
How about Tiger Woods and Charlie? That clip went viral yesterday. Charlie warming up for that Nota Begay tournament.
I can't get over Tiger looking more like he's playing in the tournament than Charlie is.
I know.
Black pants.
Tucked like athletic fit. He's not wearing like,
Golf shoes on, like just so ready to go.
He legit-
Swear I think he had a golf glove on as he was cleaning one of the clubs. Just the guy can do no wrong when he's on a golf course, though. The way he cleans those clubs is the greatest way. Like it's such a fine, just like across the chest and a little bit of a thumb action as he's looking at the ball flight from Charlie. He's not even looking at the grooves. He's kind of just like moving around with his left thumb, like, all right, I'm gonna clean these grooves out as I fucking just watch my son become the next greatest golfer of all time.
Oh god,
so good. I analyzed that for like an hour. A little bit of a limp as he went to the bag, but that's just who he is now. He's like a couple inches shorter on the one side.
So that brings me to our set of poll questions, and again, this is going to be yay or nay on each one from each person on the show.
So this is not the wheel. We haven't done the wheel yet.
The wheel. I thought this would be a little bit too polarizing of a time on election day to be doing the wheel. Thought maybe we'd save that. I think people calm down a little bit after the election. There's a little bit of a grace period where you chill out.
Not my president.
We might want to do it Thursday or next week.
Is the wheel going to be political?
Well, the wheel is going to include
some minefields.
Yeah, there's some minefields in there. That's the part of the wheel.
Okay.
The wheel is, I'm going to say I want to put 12 spots on the topic wheel, and I'm going to have 8 of them are going to be pretty standard. Like, what's your thought on Phil Mickelson, chances in the Masters next year? And then 4 of them might be, like, what was your first instinct when you heard the latest ruling on Roe v. Wade? And
Wow.
Okay, all right.
So it's a week.
Frankie,
Where
you got to
do you
start
stand?
breaking that
Yeah.
iPad out and start reading, pal. You got to start getting informed.
No, I mean, that's
Yeah.
Frankie facts. It's facts before fiction. So, I mean, whatever I say is just true.
Yeah, and you just got to get you got to get your way through somebody looking at you with that topic and saying, what's your take? And then you're up next to speak, and whatever happens at that point. So that's kind of how the wheel works. This is different. This is not as many landmines, not as problematic, I would say, is the polls. We're going to start with the first question, and we'll list. Hopefully, we'll just put a little social graphic out there of the questions and where everybody voted on this. In 2023, will Tiger Woods play in more than 5 events?
Will Tiger Woods
No.
play in more
Nay.
than 5 events?
Nay.
Nay.
I say,
Well, it depends. Are they official events, or like the match doesn't count, right? We're talking about like 72-hole PGA
Yeah.
Tour event.
I'm gonna say yay. I have a
Say
little
yay
bit.
as well.
I have a little bit of good juju going in for Tiger coming into this year. Obviously, things didn't go great last year, but they kind of did. If you think about where he was, the guy still made a couple cuts in major championships, and he's had a ton of months to recover. He's playing in the PNC. He's playing in this match. The guy can still play golf. I think if the Masters goes well, he's gonna have that bolt of energy, being like, I can do this year.
Dude, remember when the hype of him walking with Joe LaCava around Florida the week before the Masters tournament last year, when those little videos
tracking
of
his
people
plane
hiding
and stuff?
behind like palm trees were fucking taking videos of him walking around the golf course, and we were like, holy fuck, is he gonna play in the Masters next week? And then he played, and then he made the cut, and then he made the cut at Southern Hills. I'm saying yay, because I think 4 majors, the Players Championship, and I think he sneaks in like a Riviera or something like that. It's close. That's why I put the number at 5. But I think he can play once a month. January, he's probably not going to play because I think Torrey Pine's the only place he would, and I just don't think it fits him as well anymore with it's cold and the whole deal. So I'm going to say I think he plays once a month, February, March, April, May, June, July, and then he's done because obviously he won't qualify for FedEx. I doubt he'll play in the Ryder Cup. That's my I'm going to say yay.
I don't think Tiger Woods is going to play another U.S. Open, maybe. Period.
Wow.
I don't think the U.S. Open makes any sense for him at this point in his career. It's just long. The rough is long. It's physical. It's tough. He wasn't playing well in U.S. Opens before the injury, the latest injury. He didn't play in it this year. I can't really see him playing in many U.S. Opens going forward. So then that leaves 3 majors, and I think he'll try to play Riviera, which is his event, and then Hero. But Hero would be 5, and that also is not an official event. So I think he's on 3 majors and Riviera diet for the foreseeable future. I just don't think his leg can physically get that much better.
Right. Frank, you mentioned the word recover. You're saying, Tiger's had all this time to recover. I don't think that is the way he even looks at it anymore. Like, you could give him 2 years to recover, and it's going to be the same as it would be if you gave him 6 months to recover. Like, that leg is so bad now that it's what it is what it is. The recovery part of it, it's important initially after a tournament, but at a certain point, that leg is what it is. So, yeah, I agree with Dan. I think 4 is the right number.
But there's got to be some aspect to recovery because he comes out so hot on Thursdays. Like, he plays really well on Tuesday practice round, Wednesday practice round. The guy's leading the major on Thursday. Everyone's like, holy shit. And then he tapers off as his leg deteriorates throughout the week. But maybe after a year of that and like actually going through it and playing during these majors and missing the cut at the Open and all of these things, like he's able to like figure it out. He is Tiger Woods. He does write his own history books. There is no way to see how a leg like that operates because no one's ever had Tiger Woods' abilities with that leg. So he writes his own fucking history.
Makes a lot of sense right now.
That's what he
Getting
does.
me pumped up right
Well,
now,
like,
baby.
you don't like
Frank.
there
Really?
is no standard for what a leg like that
Writes his
does
own
for a
history
human because there's never been a Tiger Woods before that's done that.
It's a good point. If there's anyone
Yeah.
who could do it, something that we thought was patently impossible, it is Tiger Woods.
Will Trent break 90 in 2023?
Come on, man.
2023?
It's still 2022.
I thought you were going to say 22.
Well, I'm wondering if you guys are out of time up there. I mean,
Dude,
how long
it's
you got left?
75
up there?
degrees in New York today.
Yeah,
That is incredible. I did see.
we're doing
I'm
one
wearing a
this week.
t-shirt.
It's
We're
nice.
doing a
out.
break in 90 this week for sure. And actually,
The only reason I said that is I thought you guys were pretty much done at this point. For this.
Usually
No,
we
I-
are.
we're so not done. Hold on. My fucking microphone just keeps going down. We're so not done. And I'm sorry to anyone. This audio could be horrific today. I got to figure out this mic. It goes up and
You
down.
sound
There's
great.
like a regulation system on it. It's fucking ridiculous. We are so dialed into Breaking 90 and I refuse to stop doing these that I am now editing the videos. I'm taking control of Breaking 90. We will be filming them. I will be taking them home. I will be editing them myself. I'm getting back in the fucking lab and I will be making sure that these videos come out. It's on me now. So you can scream at me. You can yell at me. You can put it all on me. The editors have so many fucking videos to put out that I refuse to sit back and watch this guy not break 90. I will do it on the golf course with him and then I will do it on my computer as I get home. And we are going to break 90 and we are going to be putting videos out nonstop during the winter. That's what we're doing.
So then it would be, will we do it by New Year's?
I don't think so, but I do think that we're going to attempt a lot.
I think
the over-under is like February of 23.
I don't think you're that close. I think you're close, but I think it's going to take a lot to shoot
By
at 88.
Super Bowl. By the Super Bowl
I,
does he break 90?
That's the one. That's I'm going to say no. I think it's right in that sort of like late February, early March period.
I
I'm
like
going to say
the,
March 3rd.
I like the added pressure of like now I've got my guy Frankie. I'm putting work on his plate. So the more I don't do it, the more work I give him. So we are shooting one this week, and if I don't do it, then that automatically puts a video in the future on Frankie's plate.
Right.
So
And I'm gonna start getting really aggravated. It's gonna be like holiday times. I'm going to be wanting to do stuff. We obviously had the busiest year of all time. We took like 60 flights each. Everyone's like, how the fuck did you go all these places this year? We have the Barstool Classic every single week. We're fucking so busy. This is supposed to be our off time. And now I'm getting the editing. I thought that I moved on
Put
in
so
my
much
life
pressure on
to
Trent
not
now.
have to
So
edit
much.
anymore. I literally deleted Premiere Pro and I deleted Final Cut. That was like the greatest day of my life. I did that for 5 years for Dave Portnoy. It was the hardest, gruelingest process of all time. I loved it. I loved the grind. So maybe I'll get that back. I am searching for that like deadline, got to get a video out high, because there is nothing like it. I don't know. There may not be that many people that listen to this podcast that are in that field. Certainly the guys behind the scenes that are listening to this right now are, but there's something about like you have a timeline and a video and you got to get it out by like 12 o'clock tomorrow, and there's no sleep that night before, and you're just like, I have to put the finishing touches on this thing, and hitting like export is the greatest feeling of all time until it ends up crashing and then you want to fucking kill yourself. But I want that high again. I will regret this because I know we have like 11 more episodes to go.
So will Trent break 90 by the Super Bowl? I'm going to say yay.
By February,
February 10th or something like
you got to
that.
figure that we're going to have to start going
here.
south.
No,
Aren't you not
here's-
going to
that's
play
what-
for a while?
No,
No,
that's
we're
what I was
gonna
going to
start
bring
going
up. So if I don't do it, this next time out or whenever the weather turns on Long Island in New York, which apparently is not going to be for like another 2 or 3
We got to do
weeks.
one in the snow. You just got to fucking
Right. But
you
then
know,
we
started
are-
this thing. This guy was on a lake jumping into tubes. At least that's when we started this fucking series, and now we're gonna do it in the snow. It's like, how long has this gone on?
Well, so we are, the budget for this show is very small. It is sponsored, so we make money on it, but we spend like $100 an episode, basically Ubers to and from the golf course. But if the weather turns, which it's going to, and I haven't done it yet, which I'm going to try to do this week, we will travel. We'll go to Florida. We'll go somewhere warm, and we'll shoot episodes. Like, that's just what we'll do. There's not going to
We
be
go to Disney. We get our mind off it. You know what I mean?
There's not going to be the Northeast break because planes exist. We can go down to Florida and try to break 90. We're going to keep going at this thing full go until I do it. And
Maybe go to that massage parlor down there I keep hearing about.
I think it
take a little
closed.
stress off.
I think it closed.
I will not be going there. If it's closed, I can't go. But Florida or wherever, I think I will have it done by. I think I'll have it done by the Super Bowl. I think so. I hope so.
I say yay.
I say yay. I think we get it done. If not tomorrow, I'll see how your game is tomorrow, and then I'd like to reassess my answer. If you're like striping the ball the way you were the last time I saw you, I think that you're going to do it within the next 4 weeks. But if not, I think it's going to be a long road. I do. This guy plays ball in hole like USGA rules. You know how hard it is for him to like pick up 5 and 6 strokes in that format. Every ball's got to find the bottom of the cup. Fuck you if you're watching this trying to fucking tell me that this guy's not trying. This guy's got to get the ball in the hole, man. That is so hard to do for 18 holes. And improve.
It's very difficult for me. It's very difficult.
Improve.
It's hard.
Number 3. Do you believe we will confirm extraterrestrial life, aka life existing not on Earth, during our lifetimes? And I put a little caveat in there because lifetime is a little vague. So I'm going to say by the year 2075, which gives us another basically 50 couple of years from
I
now.
don't think I make it.
I got to tell you, we've talked a lot about the simulation theory recently, and I've been thinking a lot about it. I'm starting to flip on this. The obvious answer that people always give is that the universe is so big and there's so many places that we don't know about, so many universes, so many galaxies, so many this, so many that statistically the chances are, of course, there's more life out there. Not only is there probably more life out there, there's probably an infinite amount of life out there. That's what everybody says. The scientists will say that, whatever. I've been thinking about the simulation theory so much that I think we might be alone. I think the makers, the people pulling the levers, the puppet masters, I think they buried us so deep and put us in this video game for us to make us think that, oh, of course there's something else out there. We just got to find it, or it's got to find us. I think it's a fool's errand. I'm starting to flip on it. What would be?
You've been spending too much time with Frankie. It sounds.
What would
Is
be?
that
right next
No,
to
but
him.
he's
Does that mean
definitely
that
on the
we're
opposite
alone?
end of this. He's
Does that
definitely
mean
on the
that we're
opposite.
alone though? Like I would say the same thing to you that there is a simulation for sure. Someone's pulling the levers, but does that mean that we're alone? That would mean to me that like we're the least alone.
Right, because someone is pulling the levers.
Like there's eyes on us. It's like
Yeah.
we're
Sure, but I don't think there's eyes on us. I don't think there's. I think they made it, and they were
Where's the
like,
simulation come from? If we're
like in the
there's no eyes
natural
on us?
setting of the universe. If you believe in just this thing just happened, like that would be the most alone if you actually didn't think there was aliens out there or like other life, right? You'd be like, yeah, we just happen to be lucky on this one planet. If you think that someone legit put us here in a simulation theory, that's like the most we're not alone like debate of all time.
Well, the question of alone is it? Are we going to find people like us? Is usually the question. Then I would say, these days I'm starting to think no. I just and I get that I'm probably wrong, and people are going to throw a bunch of
there's
quantum
no way to
mechanics
know.
at me. But like, wouldn't it be the craziest thing if we were able to find somebody else? But I just don't think it's happening.
Well, what I would say is I actually think this whole belief that like there has to be a bunch of other life is pretty new. Because forever it was just like religion based, and it was like Earth is the center of the universe, and there's a God, and the God's overlooking us, or whatever your different religion was. Whereas I think this whole like mathematics behind there's so many planets and so many stars, and the chances and numbers are so infinitely high that there has to not only be other life, but like infinite other life. I feel like that's pretty new, and I feel like it would be a real shame if we're this fucking close. They talk about it all the time, and we got these pilots, these Air Force pilots that are, releasing videos of these crazy fucking things flying around that can't be explained anything else. It'd be a real shame if we're fucking right there. We're born in this generation, and we just don't get to live through when they confirm that there's other life.
There's also all these, let's call them alien groupies out there who are saying, there's these advanced societies that are just, outside of our scope, and we just can't get them, and they're so much more advanced than us. If they showed up, their comprehension would be 1,000,000 times better than ours, and their ships would be 1,000,000 times better than ours. All right, then how about pull up, aliens? Just pull up. If you guys are so great, if you're as great as all these people are saying,
Step the fuck up.
show yourself. Step up, pull up. Like if you got
I think they did. They did. That's why the pyramids are there. And then that's also why we figured out like how to like have Wi-Fi and internet.
Well, if you want the truth about the pyramids, it's that it was just slavery for like 100 years, and they built it.
But
They're
still,
my people,
I don't know
Frank.
if humans
Right.
can get them. I don't know how they can get them out of there. Like they're just so high and so heavy. But
You just throw a lot of people at it.
I know, but it's
Endless
still-
people. You make.
I feel like there's
them do it. They don't have
there's
a choice.
definitely some forms of life. I'm kind of with Trent on this, where it's like if we found some protozoa or some bacteria somewhere, that wouldn't really surprise me. I don't think it's as evolved as we are, but I think we see the building blocks of life in our lifetime.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be that surprised you. That would be a yes. That would mean if there's fucking algae on another planet, that it's over.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna like
Life
stumble
everywhere
upon.
now.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna stumble upon.
Didn't they find that already?
Barstool, but
Didn't they find some sort of life on like an exoplanet where it was like the idea of like water and like a running fresh river that would run.
That was
through.
Mars. Didn't they talk about Mars? There was evidence of running water in the past, but I don't. Not currently,
I do
right?
not
I thought
believe
there was an
they confirmed
exoplanet that they
life
said
on
like
it.
there's like some sort of like obviously they haven't gotten there, but from their viewpoint that it most likely would have like the algae type. And then I remember saying on the podcast, and everyone's like, "Oh, I need a guy with 2 eyes and fucking 2 legs and 2 arms coming here and like saluting us." Like it was always like the argument that it needs to be a human.
Don't you feel that way? Like if we found what Dan just described, like that's not gonna blow my dick off my body. I need someone being like someone at the other end of the telescope being like, "What up, guys? What's up? Holy shit! I can't believe we found each other."
If they do find bacteria on another planet, that means the guy you're looking for is out there, 100%.
Yawn.
Yeah, I'm with
That
Trent.
means
It
the
wouldn't
guy's
really
out
do
there
it for me.
100%.
I think I would scroll past that, see that, I'd be like, "Oh, maybe they'll actually find someone eventually," and then keep scrolling.
But then you believe, so then
It's
you
so
do believe
fucked.
that that's already out there because that wouldn't change
Makes me
anything.
wanna
for
see
you.
Yeah, I
Scream.
believe that's out there. I believe that there's like bacteria and stuff that's already out there for
It
sure.
makes me want to scream.
I think we got buried so deep in this simulation that the people who made it, they forgot about us. They don't give a fuck about us anymore. And they're like, oh, I wonder what's going on with that thing that we created. And we're just all like looking for something.
I can't handle this. I can't die.
Alistair Doherty, T36, still right on the number. Through 7 holes. It's going to be such a sweat.
I can't think about it. Lights turning off, I just can't think about it.
What?
Just the idea that like it's all going to be over one day is just not something I can handle.
Where were you during the Roman Empire?
Nowhere.
That's right.
I know. I just can't,
Is that what does it for him?
No, I'm saying that's what
like
made
you
it click
don't
for me.
remember before, so why would anything
Right,
after
I remember
mean
some
anything?
comedian, and I don't remember who it was.
Just makes me want to puke.
Because I've thought a lot about this. When I first started smoking weed as an 18-year-old, you start to be like, what's going on? And you start thinking about different things. I remember one comedian being like, where were you during the Renaissance? And I was like, nowhere. And they're like, yeah, that's where you're going after.
Yes.
See, for a guy like me, that brings me a lot of comfort. I think that's great. I don't want to deal with your heavens and your hells and your demons and your angels. That's to me, that's crazier to think that way. If I just think like, it's like, all right, where was I during the Roman Empire? That makes me feel better.
Very difficult to cancel subscriptions, or you forget to cancel one. You add up, you're paying for a bunch of things every month that you didn't realize, you don't remember that you are paying for. That's why I love using Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill. This is one of the better apps I've ever downloaded on my phone. You get all kinds of different ideas. We talk about how financially, basically illiterate we are, how we pay for things way more so, or way more random than we would obviously like. Formerly Truebill, now Rocket Money. Once you download this puppy, it shows all your subscriptions in one place, cancels whatever you don't want for you. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you didn't know you were paying for. You may even find out you've been double charged for a subscription. To cancel a subscription, all you have to do is press cancel. Rocket Money does the rest. This is what we were using. We looked at how much I spend on Chipotle. Trent spends at Starbucks. You can really hone in a little bit on your charges and what you're spending money on, and it helps you a lot.
You can go down holes that you don't necessarily want to go down in terms of like what you spend. Yeah, I did want to know what I spend on Starbucks a year, because it's essentially $4 a day. So that was a bit of an eye opener. I've been making coffee at home more, and that's what it does. It can change your habits. Like, you see just how much you spend on something on a per year basis, and you're like, I can just cut out like 25% of that. I'm going to be saving X amount of money. So I've been making coffee at home more, and it's all thanks to Rocket Money.
Cancel unnecessary subscriptions with Rocket Money today. Go to rocketmoney.com/4. Seriously, it could save you hundreds per year. That's rocketmoney.com/4.
I see a tweet from Hank Lockwood, Hennies on Twitter. He says, I am sick of Elon, #Trent was right. I'd like to get your take, Trent. Elon obviously has been crazy in the news, obviously overtook Twitter. People are getting their shit fucking canned. They're what was that guy, Ligma Johnson? The two guys that got fired from Twitter headquarters, and the one guy's name was Ligma and the other guy's name was Johnson, and Elon was like, these guys just had to get out of here. I would like to know, where do you stand on this whole thing? Because you've been anti-Elon the whole time. Now he's like very much in your life. The guy owns Twitter now. He's not just making these cars that he says that can fly one day. Where do you stand on Elon right now?
I think he has put himself in a position that he does not want to be in. I don't think he ever actually wanted to buy Twitter, and the Twitter board was like, how much? And he was on Twitter. He was like $44 billion. They came to a price, whatever. And now that he's in control of it, he wants nothing to do with it. He tweeted last week, comedy is now legal on Twitter. What I think about Elon is, I think he bought Twitter because he thinks this is he thinks that the cool people on Twitter that he perceives that are cool are going to make him super cool. If he goes on Twitter and says, comedy is now legal on Twitter, what the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah.
It's such a broad statement, but everyone who he perceives to be cool is now saying, yeah, man, fuck yeah, comedy's legal on Twitter again. That's amazing. And then he turns around yesterday and he says, if there's anyone running parody accounts that don't explicitly state that they're a parody account, they will be banned. So what does that mean? Like, I really think he's in over his head. He doesn't want it. And now he's got to manage this thing that no one can manage. Twitter is impossible to manage. It's not something that you can come in and say, all right, these are going to be the content preferences or the things that people got to follow. You're going to piss people off and you just get in over your head. He's already got a million things going on. He's got SpaceX. He's got Tesla. He's got all these companies that he has started. And I really do think he got caught up in the people who are perceived to be oppressed on Twitter being like, you got to take this thing over and, free us. And he's like, oh, I bet people will think I'm cool if I do that. And now he's trying to manage a social media platform that is unmanageable. And he's completely in over his head. And now he's tweeting today like, since the president is a Democrat, you now need to vote Republican in the midterms because there needs to be a balance of power. Like, what happened to the guy who just wanted to run Twitter and make it free speech for everyone? It's a fucking mess, honestly. It's a whole mess that I think he doesn't actually want to be involved in.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you go through his Twitter and he just doesn't know where to fall. He doesn't know who to make happy at this point.
Right.
Every tweet seems like now he's tweeting that like birds aren't real and he's trying to be funny and he's getting 700,000 likes and retweets, and every tweet he sends now, it's like he thinks each tweet that he sends is going to be the difference maker on the internet and in the country. Like he holds the pulse, the beating pulse of America now, Elon Musk. It's crazy how much he's come to the forefront of our brains and minds now. This guy is taking over. Elon Musk low key is taking over the world.
And it's also it's kind of working for him. Like he's taking over.
But it's funny. You're seeing
he's
a real
slowly
life
doing it as if it's a joke. Like, I'm just gonna get Twitter, and I'm also gonna like buy up all the batteries for all the electric cars, and I'm also. It's just like, what are you doing? This guy's doing everything.
I think the Twitter thing is going to turn on him. I think that was a mistake. I think everything else. Listen, I've talked a lot of shit about Elon. Whatever. Like, I make fun of him because he makes these promises. Yeah, right. But I just think the Twitter thing is not going to end up being what he thought it was going to be, because he's going to put the clamps on certain things and people are going to be like, wait, when you first bought it, we didn't want you to put the clamps on that. And then he's going to have to try to please the other side. He's trying to please sides that I just don't think it's ever going to work out trying to do something like that.
I think it's like a real life example of the commenter getting the keys. Do you know what I mean? Like it's much easier to be the guy on the outside who's like, this is the problem. We're going to fix this, that. We're going to have all these spicy tweets. Everyone's going to love my tweets. I'm going to be the savior. I'm going to be the guy who's going to come in here and save Twitter. But then once you got the wheel and then you have to make the decisions, it's a lot harder to please all those different people. And I think he's learning that now, that it's much easier to be the outsider saying, this is wrong, this is wrong. It's like if you gave a fan who's like, oh, Brian Cashman is the worst GM in the world, or this, owners, and then the fan becomes the owner. And he realizes that, hey, it's actually not that simple. And maybe the guy was struggling for a reason.
Yeah, it's also, Elon has done this to a degree, and a social media platform is different than but like when he came out with, we're going to build Tesla and electric cars, he was laughed at. All the other car companies laughed at him immensely. He poured a ton of his wealth into it. And everyone's like, you can't fucking do that. There's no way. And they lobbied against him, and he became the richest person in the world. So I think that like we are seeing a very, we're seeing something concretely play out that everybody's kind of thought about, which is like, how ingrained are social media apps in real life? And if he buys something that is like, should there be, from a rightful standpoint, like, should there be something, regulating, dictating, controlling, helping out with Twitter that is from a societal, like, good standpoint, and not just a billionaire that owns it that fucks around? Like, is it so ingrained in society that it's important in terms of speech and messaging and news and people breaking news and all that stuff, journalism? Is it so important that it needs to be regulated? It's what Facebook went through forever, but like, this is a wild kind of takeover of something that is ingrained in conversation. It's not as big as TikTok and Instagram, but it's pretty fucking ingrained in conversation to the point where it was like all anybody talked about with the last president. And now somebody just took it over and owns it and could do whatever the hell they want with it. That's never really happened with something that allows people to have a voice and impacts. And tweets literally make news. Like tweets from big figures, from celebrities, from athletes. It gets people canceled, and now somebody just owns that. it's a very interesting conversation.
He was tweeting about free speech and how he wants to have it be like a free speech platform. But then he's like, I also have people tracking my planes, which is like a direct like personal safety problem. So it's like, and he goes, I'm keeping those people on Twitter, just so you know. So it is a wild, wild west if this guy does just like have the doors open and there's no locks on it. And then also, obviously, the craziest thing what's going to happen is if he brings the bad man Donald Trump back on Twitter, this world's just going to burn. Like no one's going to know what's going to happen. And it's just crazy to me. Do you think these people knew what was going to happen when they fucking started these companies, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram?
No.
Like,
no chance.
You watch The Social Network, and he just wanted to just come up with something for him while he was drunk for his school and his friends, and to find girls and to get back at his girlfriend. It's just like, dude, this shit changed the world.
And then he's sitting in front of the Senate, like, oh fuck,
this shit changed the world. And I wonder where the world would have went had they not thought of it. Do you think someone else would have thought of this stuff, like the social media in general?
I remember when Twitter came out, I just thought it was like Facebook status. I didn't really understand it. You know what I mean? Because Facebook was first, and you were able to write like things in your Facebook status. And then Twitter came around. I was like, what are people going to use this for? And then look at it now.
You also realize why the people who previously owned Twitter were so quick to give it up. Yeah. They're like, yeah.
How do I
pay us a bunch of money? This shit's your problem now, dude.
Before the next election, they're like, we're done, dude. We don't want any of this like Russia coming in for the next election, all this crazy shit. They're like, we just want to own nice houses because we own this huge company. That's all like we want to do. We don't want to get involved in politics anymore.
Listen, Elon might prove us all wrong. He might prove me wrong. I just think, listen, he is a brilliant engineer mind. That is, as much as I made fun of him, that is a hard thing to deny. With Tesla and SpaceX and all these things, I just think trying to wrap your arms around a social media platform is just so much different. And again, he is maybe 5,000 times smarter than me. Might be a low number. When you're dealing with that many voices on one platform that are so just outrageous it's a hard thing to manage. So I'll be very, like Rick said, it's a very interesting thing to follow along.
And those, right, it's tough. Like when Zuckerberg was on Rogan and he's kind of hitting them with like, how you handle with things like the Arab Spring or, giant protests if they turn violent. Like, some groups most groups you obviously want to allow because of free speech and people gather, they form plans. But if some of them are like for bad, ill intent reasons, then you shut those down. But what if your algorithm gets it wrong or your team gets it wrong and you shut down ones that you shouldn't? And it's like, now you're dictating literally uprisings and protests and the future of countries and entire regions with, like Frankie said, he's like writing fucking algorithms on a goddamn window in your dorm room. And now here you are literally affecting the entire world. And Twitter is impossible to get your arms around because look at the websites, the like dark web versions of Reddit and stuff where they have no regulation, no monitoring. And those things lead to people like live streaming mass shootings and stuff.
Right.
And then, so it's like, well, you can't allow that because that's horrific. And you really see it leads to some horrendous stuff and fosters bad speech and people get radicalized. But you also can't have it where you're the one dictating who's allowed to speak on Twitter and who's not, because everyone's going to point that you're biased whenever you don't allow a person that they want on there. So finding somewhere in between those two is fucking impossible. And
right.
That's where Elon Musk is.
Right. I remember my main takeaway from the Rogan Zuckerberg podcast was because they were talking about content moderation, which is what everybody's talking about. Like, how do you decide what goes up, what doesn't, what do we oppress, what do we, amplify? And one of Zuckerberg said, we give it to a third party. So we are not the people directly involved with what gets taken down, what gets put up, whatever. But that third party is also human beings.
Right.
Like
there's no like impartial body.
Right. That third party could then be like, all right, now we're also going to go to a third party. And it's like, at the end of that road is always one guy being like, or a room of people or whatever being like, no, that can't go up, this can't go up, that can go up. Like, you're just never going to get to the bottom of it impartially, ever.
And that person votes. That person has an opinion on abortion versus like right to life. That person has an opinion on, taxes and how much the government, like they all have an opinion. So it's like at some level, that person's making the call or that group of people is making the call. They're biased, even if they're going to try not to be. So yeah, he's now at the helm of this thing and it's a fucking shit show. It was
I just
always
wonder
going
how
to
we're
be.
all going to learn from this. How is our humanity going to learn from this time of our existence? Because I feel like this is such a major part. Social media is so new if you think about it. It's like when you look back to Roman days, we look back to what they did and we like try and make it better and we like build off what they did. How are people in 200 years going to look back at like what social media is doing right now and all the mistakes, and how are they going to make it better? I honestly don't see how it can be fixed. Like, but I'm sure it will be at some point. Like social media will just have a new thing to it that will just be better for humanity. But right now, it's so new and so volatile and so fucking destructive. It's legit like introducing a new weapon in war where you're like, holy shit, now what do we do? And like, obviously, as the years go on, it gets crazier. But if it's the war route, then it's just going to get more destructive as the years go on, as opposed to getting fixed.
Kind of what Frankie was talking about. I remember the Biden administration was kicking around like a AI Bill of Rights or something. Do you guys hear about this?
No.
Where they're basically trying to start a new Bill of Rights for like the digital age. It feels like we're going down that route where we're going to need to seriously like sit down and have that process again of like, we laid out all these rules for one world in the 1780s or whenever the Constitution was written and all these amendments and stuff. Now we've got a whole nother ball game and trying to apply the laws from back then when they had like muskets and horses to now when we've got, you know, my phone knows my face and pays for my groceries. Feels like we need something a little bit more modernized.
And today we're like,
Fucking
we're
insane.
electing the people that are going to come up with all that, and we don't know anything about it.
Yep,
No.
full circle.
No.
And
I have an absolute sewer fest in a group chat with like Democrats versus Republicans right now. Everyone's screaming at each other, making fun of their families. It's just like, what
Yeah.
the fuck, man?
It goes so out of bounds, and everybody does it. So you just, I don't know how you come back from it.
We're just trying to nip wedges close to pins, man. That's really all we're trying to do. Like, I don't know when all this other stuff became important, but like, I'm just trying to hit a nice 54 degree from 92 yards next to a pin and get that ball in the hole. And I'm trying to stop 3-putting. Like, can we just focus on that stuff ever? Is there ever a day that we can just focus on that? Fuck.
No.
It's too much, man. It's just too much. You know?
Put the phone down. Is that the answer? I don't know.
No, it probably isn't the answer.
I actually think it probably is.
Yeah, I guess for
Too much
us, we're
information.
just fucking a bunch of idiots talking about golf on a podcast, but somebody has to keep the phone on. Somebody's got to fix this shit.
Right. Somebody's got to make these calls. Somebody's going to write these like Bill of Rights for the internet that we're talking about. Someone's literally going to invent that. and
We
be like,
might,
"Yep, that's
who
the right
knows,
way to
dude?
do it."
We might be, maybe like there's a 3-year-old listening to this that one day will write the fucking Bill of Rights for the internet, and we've now influenced them to change
It's
the
gonna be
world
like
for better
30
on
years.
social
We
media.
got 30 more years of chaos if that person, 30 or 40 maybe. I mean, they're going to write it when they're 43.
And even when that comes out, there's going to be like a revolution between the people that don't want to follow
Yeah, they
these
don't like
new
those Bill of
rules,
Rights.
and it's going to be fucking crazy.
Comes back to
man.
our point that every year, man, shit just happens. Really important shit. Every year over history. Big time
Well, what's crazy
shit just
is
happens.
that show, The Watcher, I was watching.
Oh, God.
I was
At one
watching you
point, the
back.
guy's like, yeah, every like 40 years, something catastrophic happens in America. Like, we just have to try and like wipe the slate clean. There's always something that happens. And he goes through all the like the stuff. It's like World War One, and then like the Korean War and all this stuff that just, and then this took place in 2018, The Watcher, I think. And he's like, we're due in like 2 years, 2020, something's going to happen. And there was like fucking COVID obviously happened. So it's like, it always feels like something is fucking brewing. So yeah, it's never going to end. There's always going to, whether it's every 10 years, every 40 years, every 20 years, we just suck. Humans suck.
The super
What's the
lame
status with
answer.
COVID?
The
Anybody
super
know
lame
any-
answer is just be a nice person.
COVID
Just
was
be
crazy.
Just be
We're not
fucking
gonna-
nice to people. It's fucking chaos. Be kind. Be empathetic. Don't treat anybody like shit for no reason. And if everybody does that, it'll be like 2 degrees better.
Someone said we skipped smooth over 2021, and that made me laugh for like 2 hours. We really did, man. We just 2021 was fucking skipped. It was skipped.
It's just like a COVID pause.
It was skipped. The whole
It was.
whole year was fucking skipped. When nothing happened.
Well,
When I see
Well,
shit
a lot
pop
happened,
up
but, like,
on my
nothing
phone
actually
from 2021, like in your photo camera roll, when I look at that, I'm like,
Chaos.
what? That didn't happen. What are
If you really think we're on the other side of it, thankfully now, and like, you know, obviously a lot of shit happened, but what a time to be alive that shit that we went through that. My God. This is what happens in the off season of golf. We talk about the craziest stuff of all time.
They
but
canceled the Masters. Think about
yeah,
that.
it's just absolute.
They're like, nope, we can't do
Lunacy.
the
They
They
Masters.
had the
What
Masters
happened?
in November.
right.
That's a fever dream, and DJ shot like a jillion under.
Yeah, he did.
What actually happened? Like, you
Not
know,
that,
it,
not
it was
that.
just like we were fucking getting punched. Like, oh, like I just never found my footing for 3 years. It's just fucking chaos. God,
Yeah.
you know, I was living in my parents' upstairs, like my bedroom, just like locked in my room with like a fever for like 18 days, being like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, what is happening? What? Can't see Nana? Like, what do you mean?
I stayed in New York the whole time. I look back on that as maybe a mistake, maybe not, but it was very strange. I could have gone back to Iowa, I guess, but like, how would I get there? Like, what's the logistics with that? Instead, I just woke up every morning, looked down on 2nd Avenue in Manhattan, and there was nobody out there,
So
which
weird.
was so weird. It's one of the busiest
Ghost
streets
town.
in the city. You just look down there, it's 1 p.m. and there's tumbleweeds blowing across the street. It's very strange. Very
It's not. We're not out of the weeds. I just saw in the news last night that like Apple can't like get these iPhones out because of all the COVID restrictions in China again. They're like stopping production on
supply
on,
wise. We might not be out of the weeds, but I feel like life wise, we're sort of out
in
of
America.
I just
at
don't
least.
hear about it anymore, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm over it. I'm over it.
You can't. They can't go back. It's over. It's over. Like you.
Yeah,
you
it's
just
like
can't.
anytime I
It
see
reaches
a commercial
boiling
now-
still
point.
have to be dying from it, right? I mean, if people were dying 2
Yeah.
years ago from it, they still got to be
I
dying
just
from it,
I
right?
see commercials where they're like,
have
you
to
know, if you are a person of high risk, and I know this is not the right way to be, but in my head I'm like, just shut up.
Yeah, no, it's over. It's
Shut up.
over.
You had your 2
Also,
years,
like,
just
you know what
shut
it
up.
is? Like, everyone's like coughing, and we all just like the same thing happened last year. We all just have it again, and like no one's getting. It's just is what it's just like a part of the life now.
What
like,
did
I
Bi-
like for sure. I'm just like sick all the time during the winter. Like I could just have it easily. I mean, there's no doubt about just having it, but you just move on with your day. I don't even think the
Alistair
restrictions.
T25 right now.
Oh, he
That's
made a
because
birdie. He
restrictions
made another
stop you.
birdie. Let's go.
Alistair's gonna win this whole fucking thing.
Dude, top 10 is like a whole nother thing.
Really?
Yeah, top 10,
top 40
which is
is
at,
must.
And then what do you get? Something extra top 10?
It's 12 starts versus 8 starts. Top 10 get 12. The next 11 through 40 get 8.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, let's go.
Winner gets the whole year.
Winner
So
gets the whole
Alistair.
year.
Dude, he could make a charge up this fucking leaderboard here. Let's scare these guys in top 10 here, huh?
What are the leaders at?
The leaders are 10. T9 is -9. He's at -4, so he's got a way to go. But this is like the number one day where you want to be the guy who posts a score early because you do not want to be one of those
hell out
guys
of
who's
there.
playing the last 3 holes right on the number because that
Oh.
is some level of nervousness that you don't want to deal
Oh,
with.
with
So
your
you want to
whole,
shoot
like,
that
life on the line.
Yeah, you want to shoot 67, sign, and just sit there and chill with a beer and get better and better.
It's also like he got through second stage on the number, thinking that he had missed a short putt for like an hour, crying, being like, I blew it. So like, it's almost like when somebody makes it to the final table of World Series poker, it's like you had to win a bunch of coin flips and like hands that you shouldn't have won to get there. And this is the time that it's happening. And now you're in control and you're thinking about all that. And if you fucking blow it on the back nine or whatever, it's like you might never get in this spot again. And if you do well, you might win on the fucking Korn Ferry Tour and then win on the PGA Tour. It's like, that's the fucking difference right now. He's just out there hitting golf shots in fucking Georgia.
He's one bad swing, like disastrous swing away from like, we don't even want to talk about it.
And this
So-
is going to come out and it's going to either have happened one way or the other. I do think he's trending, which is nice. He started off shit and then he got it together. He was like 5 under at one point in the second round and then he hit one, I think, out of bounds or into a hazard on 15 and ended up only posting like 2 under. And then he shot 66. Now he's a couple under and he's looking at his T26 right now. So it's like he's trending. He's feeling good about himself. It's not going the other direction. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident. A top 40 is like life-changing.
Life changing.
It's
Could be life-changing
fucking
for us.
Life-changing.
Fingers
Right.
crossed.
Hell yeah.
Fingers crossed, Alistair.
Should be wearing our shit out there. All right. Couple from the galleries real quick. What are we,
Yeah.
an hour and a half into this thing? We can keep talking. It's fucking off season.
Any more polarizing topics we can talk about?
We really hit way more than I thought we were going to hit. Like, I would
It's
say
golf off season.
I didn't think we were going to hit one of them. And at one point, we were talking about,
We talked about war, Elon. We talked about
Comments.
COVID, comments.
You got to live somewhere, folks. Is that true? I think that's true.
That is true.
That's a fact.
Still true.
Home is
Might
where
as
you
well
make it.
own it. You might as well own it unless you are more interested in paying someone else's mortgage. It's a good time to buy when you are ready to buy. CrossCountry Mortgage listens, understands, and communicates throughout the entire loan process. I know that you don't know a ton about this. I know that you're going to have a lot of questions. You're going to have a lot of concerns. They're going to bring things up to you in this process. You're going to have no idea what they're talking about. You'll be like, wow, I wish I had an expert that I trusted that could help me do this, because this is probably the biggest financial purchase of my life. It'll probably be the biggest financial purchase I'll ever make. That's what CrossCountry Mortgage is for. CrossCountry Mortgage is our favorite mortgage company, and we love them. I would say that we love them. Is that correct?
I think
love
that's right.
them.
As much as you can love a mortgage company.
When I grew up, I didn't have the ambitions to fall in love with a mortgage company, but that is something that happened with me. 29 years on this earth, and this is the path that my life has gone down.
Access your equity to use for larger expenses, whether it's debt consolidation or home renovations. We all love renovations. HGTV, you see all kinds of cool stuff that you can do. CrossCountry Mortgage is going to help you with that. See if you qualify today. Visit ccm.com/barstool. Now, CrossCountry Mortgage LLC, NMLS 3029. All loans subject to underwriting approval. www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Again, go visit ccm.com/barstool now. I got another one of my foreplay polls questions is, will a live event air on a television network at any point in 2023?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, will they be paid for the privilege? I don't know, but yeah, there'll be something on FS1.
If you don't think Greg Norman and Liv are going to go 10 times harder next year with all the momentum they have built this year, they are 1 year into this thing, 1 season into this thing. I mean, we didn't even think this was going to be a thing. Talk about the way we felt about Tiger Woods, where the guy was legit flying off a cliff, where like he may never live, he may never fucking walk. Like now he's playing in majors. Think about like that ride. Live, we had the same sort of trajectory where it's like, this thing's not going to be something. And all of a sudden you look back, you're like, holy fuck, they got Cam Smith and Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson, and they have a championship, and they're giving out $1 billion. It's like, what the fuck is happening right now? Where were we 12 months ago?
Last week I saw it was like, they've got a free agency move. Like Taylor Gooch is leaving the Fore Aces to go to the
It's just
Bubba
become
Watts'
a thing
team.
now.
You're just like,
So-
wait. This is actually happening in golf right now?
Did I see Greg Norman say that there's 7 open spots or something?
That's what he said. Because they're trying to get 60 players, apparently. They want there
Okay.
to be some like extras and injury guys.
It's going to be revved up times 1 billion coming next year. They are sitting in these boardrooms being like, we are full steam ahead. And unfortunately for the PGA Tour, like they're going to have to answer. I'm hoping that what comes out of this is the greatest rivalry in all of sports, and it's going to be Liv versus PGA, and they're going to somehow do a tournament against each other. I hope at some point the President's Cup becomes Liv versus PGA. Can you imagine Rory McIlroy playing for the PGA Tour versus fucking Bryson DeChambeau playing for Liv, like coming down in match play on Sundays? That would be the most watched golf event of all time. Like legit around the world, it'd be the most watched golf event of all time.
I just think it's so weird that we're in a position where people are like defending a tour.
Well, that's
it's
just the world we're living in.
I know, it's just so strange.
People
though.
wearing
No
like Rob Lowe type
Yeah.
fucking PGA Tour hats.
Yeah.
Where it's just like
Exactly. It's like
I
no one's
love this
wearing like
tour.
no one's like the English Premier League. Oh, I'm the English Premier League fan, and the other person's like, oh, I'm Bundesliga. Like it's just a very weird thing to have an allegiance to.
They've made it that way.
Yeah,
Everyone. I'm not
yeah.
saying Live or PGA Tour, but I mean, when you start saying Phil's like draw a line in the sand, pick a side, like that's literally
It's just
what
so
they're
strange.
saying.
You're right. It's
Whatever-
really just straight out of a Will Ferrell movie. Like, oh, I'm ride or die for Live, and oh, I'm PGA Tour till I freaking
Like that's
croak.
why when you ask the question, why are people taking up arms for a golf league? It's because we are now framing it that way because the players themselves are.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
It's just
Yeah.
been positioned that
Like,
way.
how far are we away from a draft? Where it's like
Probably not that far.
Live drafts their guys and PJ Tour drafts their guys, and we're going to actual war for these guys.
It's just
crazy.
such
It's
a
up to
weird
like
time.
how long can Liv go without making any money? Like, that's really the question. If they could just keep going, then this thing will not slow down.
I think they can just keep going. There's no reason for it not to. They've got more money than God. Like, why not just try to be a thorn in the side?
What was that
for-
number that Chap said? I saw on their social media a couple weeks ago on Zero Block 30 that like Aramco or that
Like
company.
700 billion is the fund.
Yeah, but they made like 45 billion in revenue in quarter 3. or something like that. It was the most. They made more than like Apple, Microsoft, and like Tesla combined in like one. It was like all of the biggest American companies. Aramco made more than that in one quarter. It was
They're not going anywhere.
disgusting.
Well, that's the thing is I've tried to ask these of executives, like, do you guys have a runway where if you don't make money that you're gonna eventually have to shut down? They're like, yes, we're a business, just like every other business. We're a business. We have to do it. I just don't know if I believe them, because if the Saudis decide that the relationships that they make through golf and their relationship with Donald Trump and getting to play in the Pro-Am, if they decide that that's worth a couple billion every year, then you're right. This could just be the new normal.
Yeah,
They could also pull the plug at any
third quarter net income rises 39% year over year to $42.4 billion.
In one quarter.
That's their net income.
Income.
They're not
Yeah,
going
they can,
anywhere.
Profit,
they can
baby.
afford. They can afford to pay Ian Poulter, $15 million.
It's like
They could lose.
problem.
They could lose $3 billion if they won over a year. If they're making 40 something billion a quarter, what does $3 billion mean? They're just going to make that up in a week.
You're 100% correct, Frankie.
That's just a Ramco too. That's not even the entire fund. That's their
They have
oil
all
company.
the money, all of it, every single dollar.
They own like a big piece of Twitter. Let's not forget that. And they opted not to sell their shares with Elon, so now they're partners with Elon in that.
They got their money everywhere, man. You got that much money, it's going to be everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
No
If
way.
you have that much money, what is money? Like,
True.
how did they just
It's a
have
means
all
to
that
an end,
money?
hopefully, that you would hope. If you don't think about like, oh, let's rent this month. You think about what sort of influence can we push on people with this money.
I always wonder that, like, how do countries, like, do they just like wire money for, like, how do countries spend money?
What do you mean?
I don't know. Like you always hear all this money is being
Ask
spent.
Kyle
on-
Westmoreland. Didn't he tell us that was his whole job?
Yeah, like how like how the government spent money on
Military aid.
on the military.
Oh, I just watched War Dogs a couple weeks ago. That's how they spend money. They've got all these defense contracts, and if Jonah Hill and Miles Teller can get them this amount of grenades in a week, they give him $10 million or whatever.
Like, where is all that? Like, is it gold? Where is all, like, what is the 45 billion that they have each quarter? Where is that coming from? Is it just a made up number at this point because there's just so much of it? Have we just made up how much
I
money
think
is
it's a
worth
real
at this
number.
point? I wonder.
Wonder about what though?
Just like what it
challenging
actually
the Saudis?
is. It's just like what it actually is. Like, there's just gold. Where's the value? Where's the value of the money? Where is it held?
I don't know.
No one knows it. You know what I mean? Like,
Banks.
we all don't. Banks? What does that mean? What do you mean?
Banks hold
Where-
money.
Where is
Banks
the
do hold money.
where is they? So they have $45 billion in this quarter. Where is that $45 billion value money? Where is that currently? Like, I understand it's a number in their system, but like, where's the value of that? Is it in gold? Is it in
I think a
oil?
No,
percent-
it's in like currency. It's in
But it has to the numbers have to be about something, right? It has to hold a value of something.
I think it's
there has to
the
be a physical value for something. Somewhere.
No, I don't think there does.
No,
That's
there
like the
doesn't.
gold standard. There doesn't have to be a physical thing of it. It's like the value is in that everyone agrees it has value.
So that's what I mean. We've just gotten to the point where it's now reached. It's just we just accept it.
That's how
Where it
money
used-
works.
Yeah.
But I thought money always had a value of something actual, physical somewhere.
It did. It was on the gold standard for a long time, but then there
And
was
it's
too
no
much
longer
of it.
that
It's
anymore?
no longer that. No.
That's insane to me. That's insane to me.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, that's literally why crypto exists. People are like, "That's a fucking bananas system. We need to come up with something better."
That's crazy to me.
essentially
This
where
is
it
something
came
I'm
from.
now learning, that like we've just gone beyond the threshold of it actually valuing to anything. It's just the value that we've placed on it. We just say this is what it's worth.
Yeah, I mean, somebody says to you, in order for me to sell this home to you, I need 900,000 United States dollars, and you either pay that or you can't have this home. And you're like, "Yep," and then that's where the value of that money comes from. Pretty much it.
It's a lot to handle.
It's fucking it's crazy. It's like, why don't we just come up with like, yeah, that's essentially people being like, we should just come up with something different that like governments and everybody doesn't control it. And I think that's what
What if we just
cryptocurrency
say, like,
is.
The whole
No,
world,
we don't-
the whole world agreed that this Apple mouse was worth $10 billion. Then that's what it's worth.
And
That's
then
that's
the
what
Saudis are
trading
done.
cards are. That's what fucking
That's what
everything.
NFTs are.
Right.
Then it's over. The Saudis are done. Like your money's just nothing. It's just a number now. It's just that's it.
Well, we're
I
all
think
pretty
that's
tied up
really
in
why
this money
they've got
thing.
their fucking tentacles in so many different things that nobody could just box them out. It's like they're everywhere. They got fucking
Fuck,
oil.
man.
They
It's
got soccer
just too-
teams.
we've
They
gone
got
too
golf. They
deep.
got everything.
It's too deep. There's no way out. It's a wild world we've built.
Yeah. Yeah. How about like the U.S.? We just borrow an outrageous amount of money and just pay for things, and like for decades now, we've been like, well, how are we going to pay that back? And the next administration will just kind of figure
Borrow
out
some
how
more.
we're just going to
Right. That's something I've learned in my iPad readings where they'll talk about, they just passed this bill to give $360 billion to this. And then you're like, where does that come from? And they're like, we're borrowing it. I'm like, all right. Well, what the fuck does that mean? And they're like, just fucking don't worry about it. It's $360 billion to this. It's like, okay.
Yep.
Sure.
And then like China owns a bunch of that debt and stuff. And people are like, well, that's not good that we're indebted to China.
Trillions.
Just like if Frankie's like indebted to CrossCountry Mortgage, you're like, that's good. I like those guys. But we're like, well, that's like not great that they've bought up all of our debt because someday we got to pay them back. And all this shit's just going on. And again, we're voting about it today and none of us know anything about it.
Wow.
It's fucking great.
What a golf show today. You know?
That's the world, dude. We're just
You know what? This is
explaining
what
the
four
world.
guys talk about sitting at a bar right now. This is what's going on in the fucking world. It's chaos. I'm not going to sit here and like fabricate what the actual world is. I'm not going to sit here and talk about fucking Mayakoba for 15 minutes and 30 minutes and 45 minutes. We're not going to just start fucking making shit up. This is what we're living in right now. There's
The best part is
chaos
we
happening.
probably touched on so many different things that a lot of listeners do professionally all the time. And we touched on it for like 8 seconds. And they're like, oh, I do that literally 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, every
Yeah.
fucking week. I clock in, I clock out. That's what I do. And then we just moved on to something else. We're like, yeah, that's how it works.
We're also so wrong about 95% of it.
So wrong.
Everything we said.
Like I don't think
Everything
I
we
said,
said.
I don't think I said one thing on this show that I actually think is
You
a
can like go to
valid
bat
point.
for.
I
Yeah.
think there's
Right.
anyone out there listening that's like, I really learned something from those guys
No.
today.
Well,
I
I
have-
know that Emma always tells me that whenever we talk about the law on our show, we are just horrendously wrong every time. She's like, you guys should have me on because you guys are terrible and know nothing.
I really don't. I'm not. I don't have a college degree.
We don't
I
care,
have-
Emma. You're not coming on. We don't
I
care.
don't have any of these things. These things that people have that prove that they're smart. I don't have any of them.
It's all made up.
Yeah, Riggs and I are embarrassed of the letters next to our name.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you guys have proof that you saw something through.
What
And were
letters
able-
do you have next to your name?
I actually have a BS, which is
what?
disgusting. I have a Bachelor of Science, which is crazy. That journalism was a Bachelor of Science. You probably have a BA, I would guess, Riggs.
Yeah, BA.
Yeah, there you go. Had to look at it.
I don't have anything
Yeah.
on my anywhere.
Bachelor of Arts. I have a Bachelor of Arts degree.
Sounds like it's from Harry Potter, Hogwarts.
I agree. And pretty much was.
Right. Harvard is Hogwarts, by the way.
Yeah, basically it is.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
100%.
No, Yale. When I walked around Yale's fucking Harvard is Hogwarts. That place
Yale's
is crazy.
Harvard.
Yeah, their campus is very Hogwartsy, much more. There's like a dining hall that you eat in as a freshman at Harvard. That is very, very Hogwartsy, but the rest of you're just kind of in like a town in Boston, basically, is
Yeah.
what it feels like. All right, video games. I'm back. I got an Xbox, the S series. It's way faster. Me and Bush were texting about it this weekend. Way faster than the last Xbox I used. And I'm playing 2K. I can't get over how obviously realistic the game is. It's great. Looks amazing. Great. The course options blow me away. The fact that I was able to just go play Cabot Cliffs again this weekend, which is my favorite course I've ever played ever, anywhere. I'm sending pictures to my friends that went on the trip with me when I went in 2019 with my buddies, sending pictures from the golf course, being like, look where I'm at. They're like, holy fuck, you're at Cabot. It's just, and you can do that with anything. They've got so many fucking golf courses on this game.
Yep, and they have so many licensed golf courses that, you know, a lot of people love to make sure that it's exactly the way it is when they play tournament play. You got the 3M tournament. You've got that at TPC Twin Cities, which is an amazing place to play for us because we actually played in that Pro-Am. And then now to be able to play that in the video game, you remember every single shot. It is so dialed into like the houses to the right side of the fucking tee box that Brock Nelson hit it into. He hit it into the backyard of these tee boxes. You can see the exact houses and the siding that they have on those houses. It's exactly the same. 2K is an incredible game. Divot Derby's been so much fun. We've had about 900 people on the stream the other night at like 1 o'clock in the morning playing Divot Derby. What I do is they don't have big rooms that you can all get in. So when you play on Divot Derby on PGA Tour 2K23, you play Divot Derby and you get like 5 regular players, and then they'll fill it out with like 15 computer guys. What I do is I tell everyone at like 6:03 Eastern time, we are all hitting ready to go on Divot Derby at that exact second. When you look on your clock and it hits 12, you got to go, and we get 20 out of 20 every single time. It's so much fun. We get 20 humans playing against 20 humans, and who can get the ball in fastest on that hole? It's so electric. I don't sleep until I get a victory. So make sure you follow on the stream. We're all going to be streaming. We got to get you guys. I don't know if Alex hooked you guys up with capture cards or whatever that system's going to be, but we need to make sure we get you guys like hooked up completely.
No, I don't have a capture card.
Yeah, see, Alex, our resident nerd has to get you guys all nerded up when it comes to the stream stuff, or else we're not going to be able to do it. So
we'll get nerded up for it.
Yeah.
2K is phenomenal. I love that you could play with Tiger, Colin Morikawa, Zalatoris, Steph Curry, all kinds of big names. You'll be able to play with us pretty soon because we went and we got scanned, 85 cameras, every angle, every facial expression you could possibly make. They've got it. They've captured it. They're going to put it into video game characters that you're going to be able to access very shortly. So go check it out. 2K, buy PGA Tour 2K23 today at pgatour.2k.com. That's PGA Tour 2K23. More golf, more game.
I was just in Boston. Boston might be the best city in the country.
get any
Boston's fantastic.
bras thrown at you or what?
No, there were no bras this time, but it was a
They're
little
holding
bit.
those titties tight now.
The front page was the front page. The front row was a little bit further back from the stage than usual.
Okay.
That was a huge show.
Yeah, and chicks in the office. Shout out to Rhea and Fran. They sold out 1,000-seat House of Blues in Boston in 10 minutes.
How did that feel?
It was a huge show.
I saw that you walked out and everyone started screaming your name. Like, you've probably had that experience before, but are you just feeling like a fucking rock star in that moment?
It's cool. It's definitely very cool. I will say nothing matches from the first time that you do it.
Yeah.
Like the first time I was so nervous, and Lurch was there in Boston at it was a bar I believe called Ned
That's
Devine's, and there were like 180 people in the crowd, which is a lot, but like it's not 1,000 people at the House of Blues. And the first time was like that was the craziest thing that's ever happened. It's still insane, and it's a lot of fun. Those shows are a lot of fun to do. But there's nothing like that first time we were like, why are these? Why? Like, I tweet about The Bachelor. I do these Bachelor recaps. Like, it's fun. I love doing it, and I'm glad people like it. But I didn't think it would motivate a response like that. So it is
cool too that there's an air of humor about it. Like when you go out there, it's like people are going nuts, and also you have you're pulling of like luggage. Like it's just it's cool and it's very real, and it's also funny at the same time. It's not overly serious,
which I think is a good place to live in terms of
it's like the perfect place
being
to
a content creator. Like I don't ever want to go out there or like before I go out there be like, where's my luggage? Where is it? Where's the luggage I'm taking out there? Like it's I just sit in the green room and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to take this luggage out there. It's going to be preposterous. It's a lot of fun. It's something I never would have expected when I took this job, but that's the beauty of it.
Trent gets some pop. You get serious pop when you roll.
It's crazy pop.
Totally.
It's cool, man. I appreciate them letting me do it, honestly. Like the thing is they do a whole show. Like they do an hour and a half show, and they plan it and they talk about it. Like, what topics are we going to do? And then I show up for 10 minutes and I'm like, hey, it's the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Right. It's crazy. And I get to go to awesome places like Boston and Nashville and all these cool places.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I've got something to say. The Godfather is the greatest movie of all time.
Be careful out on that branch.
Sounds like you watched it this weekend?
No, I've been watching The Offer, which is it's like the behind the scenes, like it's a TV show on Paramount Plus. I think I talked about this last week.
Miles Teller, right?
Yeah.
Miles Teller. It's an amazing show. And it just got me back into The Godfather. You watch how they recreate it. The acting's amazing. Then you watch The Godfather after watching The Offer and you're like, it's the greatest movie of all time. For like when it came out, how just iconic it is, the scenes, the acting, like what they went through to get this movie done. It's perfect. It's like the perfect story. Family.
I've never seen it.
Oh my God. It's just...
I think I've said that on the show before, but yeah, I've never seen it.
You
You
and
have
LeBron.
to sit down and just watch The Godfather. You're gonna be like, holy fucking shit, man. Al Pacino puts on maybe the best performance of all
I caught
time.
that reference, Trent. That's when they ask him his favorite scene, right? And he's
Bro, I
like,
tweeted it last night.
you can't pinpoint one scene in that movie.
Dude,
Oh, LeBron, yeah.
no, because he lied again yesterday because he
Oh,
wore.
he did?
Yeah, because unfortunately, Takeoff from the Migos was killed,
yeah.
and so he was paying homage to him. I think he wore the same suit when he like that Takeoff had worn, or like a suit that looked like the one. And then afterwards, someone asked him like, "What do the Migos, mean to you? And like, what is it? What do you think about them?" And he said, "Yeah, when my first year with the Miami Heat in 2010, I was listening to them and I was telling all the guys like, you guys got to listen to these guys. They're the next big thing in hip hop. And if you look at the Migos discography, they didn't put out their first mixtape until like 2011, 2012. So LeBron lies for no reason. Like people love the Migos. The Migos make great music. You can just say, I love their music and it's an absolute tragedy that Takeoff was killed. Instead, LeBron has to lie unprovoked and say, I was the first person in the Miami Heat locker room in 2010 to listen to Migos, and I was telling
insane.
Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, you got to listen to these guys, when they hadn't even put out a mixtape yet. So then everyone on Twitter, it was actually a great way to end a Sunday night. People were going back through all of LeBron's lies, and my favorite one is the Godfather one, where this guy just says, LeBron, you've been talking about how you watched the
He's been reading the book. He's been reading the book.
Well, that was the Malcolm X biography that he also did not read.
Oh.
But then it was the Godfather trilogy. He said that he watched it 6 times. He watched the trilogy 6 times. That's a lot of time. And the guy just says, he's like, yeah, what's a scene that really spoke to you? And LeBron's like, there's just so many. There's just so many. And the guy doubles down and says, yeah, but what's one that spoke to you? And he starts to be like, you pick one. If you like the movies, you go ahead and pick one for me. And it's like, the guy's like, I don't know, man. It's a movie that you said that you loved.
It's his favorite movie of all time.
Just pick a scene. And LeBron's like, the movies are like 9 hours long. I can't pick one. It's so funny.
God. That's
It makes
incredible.
me so uncomfortable. I can't handle that.
So he hasn't seen it, clearly. Riggs hasn't seen it. It's a good movie. It's a very good movie.
Oh, it's so good.
I've wanted to watch it. I feel like it's something I need to be like everything needs to be right because it's going to be.
This is the
such a
right
big
time
moment.
of year, though. We got a little bit quiet. You got to donate like a night and an afternoon. Start it at 4:00 and just dive.
I think for this podcast, I think you got to watch it and then we can talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd like to stick. That's an amazing thing you get to do. You get to watch The Godfather for the first time. Like everything's like,
I'm
wow,
almost
what's going to
saving
happen?
it. Right.
But for what?
No, I know.
I know.
You're just
I'm
lucky
just
that
saying
you've gotten to this point without seeing it, even though you could have been living your whole life with all of these like feelings and reference points and like all, culture. The Godfather is a huge part of
Like-
our culture.
Do you know about the horse head?
No,
No.
he doesn't know anything, dude, which is
You-
insane. He's got to watch The Godfather. He's got to watch The Godfather.
Like you've seen references to horse heads in pop culture for however long you've been alive. And you're like, that don't mean nothing to me.
Skipped right over it, baby. Didn't I? Yeah. Nothing.
That's incredible.
Dude, you got to watch. Trent, you got to watch The Offer on Paramount Plus. You'll really enjoy it. It's
Okay.
amazing. It's an amazing recreation of just how they made this, and they took risks with like they had a young Al Pacino, and like he has like Al Pacino's voice. You're like, that's kind of weird, but then you listen to how Al Pacino talked when he was like a 20-year-old whatever young actor, and he sounded just like that guy. And they have a Frank Sinatra in there, and they have a guy who legitimately plays Marlon Brando. It's like, wow, they're taking risks right now of trying to recreate The Godfather, and they fucking nail it, dude. They nail it.
What platform?
Paramount Plus.
Okay.
It's really good. Miles Teller has this deep voice in it. Talks like this. It's fucking amazing.
Who does Miles Teller play?
He plays Al Ruddy, who is the producer.
Okay.
Really
There's
good. Dude. By the way, the
Yellowstone's
writer-
coming back out on Paramount
The
Plus.
writer-
I'm behind on that.
Well, I'll let you watch it. I'll let you watch it.
Coppola?
Well, yeah, but I was gonna say that something happened like in our town in like Bayshore, right around here, with The Godfather when it comes to like the writing and stuff. I'm gonna let you watch The Offer and then we'll talk about it.
Okay. I'm going to watch it.
I'm gonna watch The Godfather at some point.
Yeah.
Do it. It's really good.
I'm
James
excited.
Caan.
I'm very excited. All right, boys. You might have anything else? Anybody? Anything? What are we at?
I mean, I
Hour and 50
don't
minutes?
have anything. I don't think I have
Bullshit.
a single thing else to say about
Good.
anything.
I'm gonna go to the Islander game tonight. How'd that game against the Blues go?
You're just a regular season guy. Look at you. You're like all about like the Islanders
Jets
Blues.
and
You're
Islanders.
like, as soon as we started the
sports
show,
are.
you just start burying like Alex Bush, and it's like
That's what
regular
sports
season.
are. Why don't? That's
out.
like what we're doing here. It's like the whole thing. That's the whole sport. Is like the regular. It's like what we're doing. It's like takes up 7 months of our lives. You think I'm just gonna sit around and just not care until the playoffs? What am I, a fucking idiot?
I'm not saying not care, but yeah, it's
Just that's like what the sport is. We
Good
like
win.
buy tickets to games. Like it's like they're huge rivalry game. Like there's like that's what we do. Like we go there and we fucking support the team. We get really excited. Alex Bush literally went to a Jets Bills game yesterday thinking he's gonna see a win, and he saw a loss. Like I'm
He
obviously
also
gonna.
he put his Instagram story as feels like a home game in here. Did
Right,
you,
that's
did
what
you-
I mean.
Dude,
It's
they're
like,
always
it's
50-50.
Did you
it's always
delete
just
that?
a regular season
Did
game
you
when your
delete
team
that?
loses.
Did you delete that Instagram story, or what did you do?
should've.
No,
after
I'm
the
not a
loss?
coward. Are you kidding me?
You kept it up there.
Of course.
If you
Just
wait
felt-
until the
felt like a home
playoffs
loss?
to really get juiced up, you've lost the whole season. Everything's gone because then it's like you lose, it's over, and you might as well not even be a fan.
yeah, and to be fair, those are the people make fun of when
Yeah.
you're like, oh, it's playoff time, so now you get involved in the sport. I'm not saying Riggs. I'm not saying that you do that, but I am saying that the overall idea that you only root for a team when it's in the playoffs, those are the people we make fun of.
Not only root, but I'm just saying I'm not gonna overreact to a game in early November. I don't think it's that big of a deal. So
It is a big deal. though.
congratulations, you guys.
History
you got your
shows
W.
that wherever you're at Thanksgiving, like 90% of the time, that's how the playoffs see.
Yeah, I mean the Blues were the last place team in the NHL in
Outlier.
January in 2019, and they won the Stanley Cup. So I'm
there's
just saying,
outliers.
for me and my team that won the Stanley Cup pretty recently, like it didn't really matter where you were at this point.
Outliers is a book I think you would like, Frankie.
Oh yeah, that's
Malcolm
right.
Gladwell.
You've told me that.
It's a good book.
Alex is gonna have to really do some surgery on this audio today. So
I mean, we have technology.
I know. I just feel I've been looking at my levels to my left, and it's been a nightmare.
All right.
You're looking at your levels while you're talking. That's got to be a nightmare.
I always do it. Yeah, I just keep. I mean, you guys wouldn't believe. I got screens. Look, can I do this? I don't even know how to show how many. I can't. It's not big enough. I got screens all over the place. I got a screen there. 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 I got a screen up there. I got so many fucking screens. Half
What
of
do
them
you
are
use
off.
them for?
Cheating on the dozen.
Yeah,
What else?
yeah. That's what they thought.
People
No,
just think
when
we're
we
so
stream,
we are
when
we are very dumb, but
When we stream, I have to have the Xbox on one, I have the stream on the other, I have the comments on another so we can talk to the live people. And then up top, I got the TV going so I can watch whatever sports on. It's an amazing setup.
It is a nice setup.
Yeah, the dozen, man. Fuck. Whatever. It
It's a
is
good
what it is.
performance. I mean, we tied. We basically, if the questions were equal, we beat the defending champion. So I feel like that's a pretty good launching pad,
Right.
Tough to
For us.
argue.
You know,
Oh, we didn't get the fucking chapstick one. Carmex? Yellow tube, red top. Chapstick? It's a
No, we
hard
didn't.
question.
it is a hard one.
I said Blistex. But that's
Yeah.
blue.
Burt's
Everyone
Bees.
thot it was Burt's Bees. Yeah.
Is it
If
not
you don't
a
know
red
what
cap?
we've been talking about,
They
this whole
didn't get
time,
it
you got to
either.
go watch. No, they didn't get it. You got to go watch the fucking dozen.
the geography one killed us. That sucked.
Killed us.
Right. All of a sudden, Glennie knew everything about Florida.
He loves Florida.
He knew
Yeah, that's
Orlando,
true.
St. Petersburg, and something else, and he just knew exactly north to south what those were. All right.
All right, everybody. We'll be back per usual on Thursday. Go buy a Christmas sweater. Hit it hard.
Yeah,
Hit
that's
hard.
right.
Hit it hard.
Hit hard.